Because my look, I'll get stuck in traffic.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Deliciously Nothing, episode 123. My name's Nick Weir, and with me today, I have my co-host over here.
I'm Reverend Muffington.
And then I have guest
Tony
Ziegler. And then I got my buddy from Memphis, dude, Nate fucking Jaxon.
What do you do, man?
He's only going to be here for a few minutes because he has to go do a show at Third Coast. So I'm just going to pass it off to him real quick.
Oh, yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I love being in Nashville, to be honest. I just really want to move up here.
You should. You really should.
I really want to, for real.
Well,
So,
Memphis has got a really good scene, too, though, as far as the comedy scene.
Yeah, we got a good scene. I would say this, like, our scene it's decades in or whatever, but it's like it still feels new in comparison to like y'all scene up here or whatever. I guess it's just because like y'all scene is more.
We got
like,
zanies.
Well, yeah, y'all got. Well, that's one. Y'all got reputable comedy clubs. That's one. Not saying we don't. They're not as reputable as they should, but they are there. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like y'all as comics. I just feel like I'm sure y'all have y'all's own quarrels and beefs and bullshit, but it's like. Y'all are just more put together than Memphis is. You know what I mean? Like,
you just have to be, and I think every scene has their like beef with, especially here.
There's always that.
Yeah.
There are like two famous stories that are going on, and it's always the two stories that are going around, and it's just like it winds up happening. It's always going to happen. People got problems with me. I mean, like, fuck it, man. I mean, you can only just move on. You know
right.
what I'm
Exactly.
That's all you can do.
Right. That's all you can do. Right. And so it's like, for us, like, that's one reason we did the festival, right? Was to bring people into town.
The good vibes.
Yeah, to bring people into town and then to be able, like the local comics, if they were able to get up, showcase what they can do. So that they can get out of town and, you know what I'm saying, shit like that.
Dude, it felt good to be out there and do it, dude. And, like, I think Will had a good time. I know John Dollar had a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, we got stinky. I don't know about anybody else, dude, but we did get stinky.
That was really the main thing for me is that, like...
Was the stink level.
Yeah.
The stink levels needed to be raised.
Right. I just wanted the comics to come and have fun. And just be like, all right, this is a giant party and one giant show, right? For 2 days.
Dude, hanging out on that back patio?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's so many people back there. It was that, dude. It was a gigantic fucking party.
Yeah.
Man, like, and I loved doing, like, the late night crowd work show with John and, like, some of the other folks that were on there. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
They were great.
Yeah.
The requests were all, like, dirty and just, like, they knew what they were doing, you know?
Yeah. And what was cool is that, like, most of those shows, I would say all of them except for, like, 4 of them or 3 of them, were shows that I had, like, put together in the past and shit like that and, like, either created and been like, all right, we're going to try a roast battle, we're going to try this questionable joke show or some shit like that, like a live podcast type show or something. And, like, the funny thing is that I've noticed that here the comics in Nashville are more, like, they're open and more, like, receptive to try to do different shit. You know what I mean? Like, because anytime I come up here, y'all got some kind of random theme type show that's set around comedy. You know what I'm saying? You got this show, you got, like, the Gong show, you got the show I'm doing, Nicole's show, the cheaper than, show. So it's like all that, but y'all are all quick to be like, yeah, bro, I'll do it. I'll try it. Whatever.
It's very supportive.
Yeah, right. Yeah, whereas, like in Memphis comics are like, I don't know how to do none of that shit, bro. Fuck all that. I don't know. It's like, I'm like, just do it, like, because it's.
Third Coast make you have to have a theme, because that's why I've heard, like, maybe that's part of, like, we're forced to do that to get those rooms, like.
But but to me, I think for a comedy club to do, that's a good thing, though.
It pushes you, right?
Yeah,
because it only, in my opinion, it only makes you stronger.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Different.
I feel like for me, it's been very good for, like, my development producing the crowd work show that I have there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that helps me do something that is, like, out of my comfort zone normally, but I'm able to, like, really get in there and talk to a crowd and, like, riff on them.
Right.
You know? It's like little effort sometimes, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it is, it's just really cool, you know?
I could not do it. So.
Yeah, dude.
I'll tell you right now.
I think doing those, like, the shows like what you do, like the comedy on the spot type show,
Yeah.
I think that those are really fun because it's like, it really, like, tests you in 3 main aspects, right? So it's like, it tests you in, one, like, your stage presence, right? Because you got to go on stage and be like, okay, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen, so I just got to be loose and just let it happen kind of thing, right? But then it tests you, like, your wittiness as a comic, right? Because it's almost kind of like, essentially like, oh, I have hecklers, right? And it's like the question that somebody is throwing, you're like, I got to figure that out right now, right? And then also just like your mental writing skills as a comic, you know what I mean? To be able to be like, all right,
On the spot.
Right, like somebody said something, I need to be able to write this in my head really quick and then deliver it, right? So it's like, the training for that is crazy because when you go into a comedy club, that's like the 3 things you need the most.
Right.
So yeah, y'all need to keep doing that shit. Like,
Does
please
it feel
inspire
easier
some
bombing
Memphis
in that
people.
spot? Like if it just doesn't work, you're like, well, I mean, I just didn't.
It's not your material, so,
So you're
don't
just
even
like,
feel bad.
You're just like
Well.
trying something out, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
So is it different than like a joke that you've worked on and then that bombs and you're like, well, that really sucks, as opposed to like talk about pretzels and you're just like, what?
exactly.
Yeah.
You know, they just throw
Yeah.
something out like, it's like, dude,
Yeah, what do I say about pretzels? you
Yeah.
know?
Just repeat the fucking prompt back to them 3 times. That's what I would do.
that's one way to go about it. Usually we try to get like a couple at a time. I mean, one example, like this guy said bears, and that's all he said. So then I just started listing off other bears, and then I stopped for a minute, and I was like, Yogi Bear does picnics. And then I thought to a guy earlier in the show that I was talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So I went straight to him and was like, hey, dude, you want to go on a picnic?
You know, this
Okay.
weekend.
Yeah. Did it work?
Yeah, dude, it landed. It laughed.
It got a laugh. And then after that, he's like, well, he told me, what would I bring to the picnic? And I was like, lasagna. We can have picnic lasagna.
Garfield.
And I don't know why, but it did.
Well, there's something about like just
They had a good time that night, you
if
know?
the crowd feels like they're involved with it, and at certain points, like the energy in the room, they want it to be good. So it's like
Yeah.
I feel like in some ways it is harder as like to say something like really good, but at the same time it's like the stakes feel a little lower as far as like because the crowd is so involved with it that they just feel like
Yeah.
they're. If you say something funny, they are a part of the funny too because they gave the prompt.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
And see, that's another thing too. Is like y'all's crowds here in Nashville, like I don't know how old is the actual comedy scene in Nashville?
I mean, I would say the majority is like their mid-20s to like late 30s, early 40s.
Well, that's the
Okay.
age
The majority.
range, but as
Yeah,
far as like
range.
as far
Yeah.
as the scene itself, how old the scene is.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would say probably
maybe
the last
10 years or
20 years,
something?
maybe. The
15?
last 10 years, maybe 15, as far as there being like a really big group. But before, like I would say about 20 years ago, there would be like an Italian restaurant that might have someone doing stand-up comedy. Like it would be something like that.
Yeah.
Because really there was just like Zanies when they started in like 1984 or 85 or something like that. That was it. That was like the only place you really did. People that I knew, they would open up for like bands of their friends and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So their friends would have a house party and they would be the warm-up act.
Oh,
That's
okay.
how you did
Yeah.
stand-up.
Okay, yeah,
as far as I
that's
know.
real Memphis style. Right
Yeah,
there.
I
That's
mean
what
that,
Elvis used to do.
that's
Yeah.
DIY. That's I
Right.
mean that's how you do it.
I think the only one I know from our scene that's not even here anymore is God, what I had his fucking face. Jesus Christ, you probably know him because he's from like pre-COVID. You started before COVID, right?
Yeah.
Shane,
yeah,
aren't you?
Not Shane. Chad Ryden. That was it. Chad Ryden. That man.
Okay. No.
Do you
never
know?
heard.
You don't know Chad?
I'm
Fuck.
sure.
Damn it. Okay, now I'm just like referencing someone that no one knows. But
He's a guy that I know that was in Nashville comedy, and I think it was like the early 2000s. He was like hosting at Zany's, and he was really like one of the only guys. He worked at Side Splitters too in like Knoxville for a while, in like the 90s, I think. But Chad was one of the guys that really like started a lot of the stuff around. And that was back in, I guess, like the early 2000s. So maybe 2 decades.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it's like, because the one thing I've noticed is that like y'all's comedy scene has, like, y'all have like trained y'all's audience. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's the thing to me in comedy. Like, in Memphis, these motherfuckers be running wild. They just.
The audience.
Like, yeah. So it's like, and like, we got a couple of shows where like the people come and they're like, okay, we know, like, you don't have to say it. Like, we know we're not going to talk and do all the other shit or whatever. But you got some of them, they just be like.
I feel like that's like almost as much as it sucks when you're in it, it does make you like.
Oh, yeah,
better.
yeah. Now, that's the one thing I will say about Memphis comedy is doing comedy in Memphis will make you a absolute beast, right? Because the audience in Memphis is a mix of a hardcore-ass New York crowd mixed with, like, a southern crowd that's like, we listening to every fucking word you say. You know what I mean? And you're like, hi.
Our audiences are also like predominantly white.
Yeah.
So I think there's an advantage, and like, rarely do you go into. There might be 5 black people in a Nashville. Yeah, in any given open mic. If you have 5, that's a lot. So it's like, there's an advantage, I think, to playing to different cultures that like Nashville. You're gonna play the majority white people.
Yeah.
You can. It's just part of it. Whereas, like, one time we had an open mic at East Room, and there was a row of 5 black ladies, and like they're a little talkative during it, but it was like that was my first time dealing with that, and I was like, you know, it didn't throw me off terribly. I didn't have a great set, but it was like I left like at least I got that in.
Yeah,
it's like you have to know how to deal with every kind of room, and like every room in Nashville is gonna be predominantly white.
Yeah. Now in Memphis, you have, to be real, I think you really got like a 50-50, to be honest. You know what I mean? So you got.
As far as the audience.
It also depends on who books it here in Nashville.
That's true.
Like if Mike Drew or Renard or Jay Flake books it, but they're the guys that run, you know, the urban shows in town.
I'm also just an open micer, so.
Yeah, dude, there is that. I just know things. That's all.
I mean, but that's cool though. That's cool. Like.
Well, we hear that from like a lot of the comics from the Atlanta scene, where they say that their crowds are pretty much the same way. Well, I think that you just have to learn your chops as far as like dealing with a rowdy crowd.
Yeah. Because it's not only I think like a rowdy crowd. It's like. Because, like the crowds in Atlanta definitely are rowdy, right? But, like, the difference in them in Memphis is that, like, when Memphis audience watch you, they're like, we're fucking judging you, okay?
Oh.
All right?
Yeah,
you better be fucking
time.
funny.
So it's like the Apollo. It's like the Apollo.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's definitely like going to Apollo.
Right.
And like, cause you've come to Memphis a few times or whatever,
have.
and like,
I've done a couple rooms.
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there,
and
dude.
you've done a couple like white and black rooms down there. So it's like,
the high tone to me was the coolest one. That venue rips.
Yeah. Cause you did what is it, the Urban Laughs Festival? You did the comedy club down there.
Yeah, I did the joint. The joint, the Memphis Current, and the high tone.
Yeah. So. Yeah, bro.
And dude, the rooms are very different. Like I would say like the shows at the High Tone all went well.
Yeah.
And then the one at the Current went pretty well too.
Yeah.
Maybe a little lower than the High Tone shows, right? But not by much. And then the one at the Comedy Joint also pretty good.
Yeah.
That one was fun.
Yeah.
And they were all in different areas of town.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's
So it wasn't all at one place? It was like a pub crawl?
No. Like,
These are all different types that I've been.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've
these are actually all 3 separate trips almost. Because, like, I've done the current multiple times.
Yeah.
I came with Brandon once, and then I came a separate time with John Dollar.
Yeah.
And that time with John Dollar, we also did the Jun. That was sick that they threw us on, on that festival for whatever reason, dude.
Yeah, I just thought about it. I was like, damn, you and John have both done 2 festivals. Memphis, not even thinking about it. Damn.
Well, Memphis as a city just has the reputation of being a more, I've never been, but like as of like just a rougher, harder city. So it kind of makes sense that the audience might not be
the
judgy,
funny
but
thing.
it's just like there's that energy. You're always on your toes anyways. So it's like.
And the funny thing is that like I think the comics come to the city with that thought in mind or whatever, because everybody's like, "Oh, Memphis, this motherfucker's dangerous. It's crazy around here," but it's like it's not that bad.
Nashville is pretty crazy,
right?
Dude,
Like-
we are wild.
Like I mean, I hear shit from Memphis. Like there was that one big where the cops beating the fuck out of that one motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
But like here, man. Like, we have buck wild shit happening all the time. Like, they're fucking, like, that one Christmas Day bombing we had down there. And then that one white boy that just fucking just disappeared into fucking nothing here recently.
Yeah.
It's like, there's always, like, crazy shit going on here.
Several people, like, just, like, die in the Cumberland River somewhere.
Well,
It's
they
happened.
died.
Yeah, someone's snatching it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Dude.
Well, like, they're walking around downtown drunk, and if they're downtown, then they obviously got money to fucking spend, and, like, you're a target. And it doesn't matter if you're at Memphis, Nashville, fucking Denmark, you're a goddamn target.
Any major city.
And
You're
the wildest thing is that, like, being in Memphis or whatever, like, Beale Street is popping. Like, and in the summertime, that motherfucker is jumping. But, like, it is nothing in comparison to Broadway. Like, Broadway is ridiculous.
It's changed so much.
And then the
So
craziest
much.
thing is that the fact that y'all are, like, the bachelorette city of the world
Right,
type
the
shit.
Woo Girl City.
Right, and y'all got these big booty bitches walking around here and shit.
Everyone's always shitting on
Yeah.
like, dude, this beautiful
Bruh. Right.
drunk on a bus and half naked. Like, what's
The crazy,
problem?
the wildest shit is this. Is like I done been up here a few times, right? And like, motherfuckers like, they just trying to get they rock stars. They like, I'm getting married tomorrow, right? And I'm trying to get dick down tonight. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Ta-da.
I'm going back to Memphis tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So you like, it's wild, bro. Like this, Nashville is crazy. Nashville is wild. I fuck with it a lot. You know what I'm saying?
It's hard to live here now, man.
Yeah.
Especially the last 5 years. Like, it's so expensive, man.
The crazy Memphis is expensive because you can live in the hood in Memphis, and this shit like $1,000.
Well, we don't have
Like,
hoods anymore.
yeah.
Hoods are gone. We've got the shit that they've done to downtown. That we'll find a hood.
Yeah.
Find one.
See,
Yeah,
Memphis, we
yeah.
haven't gotten that far
Now
yet.
we've got the projects. We still have the projects, but everything
Yes.
around, like the projects, and then everything around the projects
Everything
is
around
immaculate.
Yeah.
And then the projects, and the projects
Yeah.
even still kind of look good. You know, they kind of updated to
Yeah.
kind of match.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
It is wild. Like, Nashville blends in. Like, you will have, like you said, just projects, and then a $500,000 house, and then a neighborhood where, like, it's tall and skinny. The one lady that's not selling,
Yeah.
and her house just
Right,
looks
exactly.
fucking so out of place.
You have one of those
It's
in
just all throughout.
every like so like Nolensville Road here goes into Second Avenue. If you take it all the way down, it goes directly into Second Avenue. And once you cross underneath that railroad, for it goes from Nolensville Road to
Yeah.
Second Avenue, those houses used to look like shit going through there, and they're all gone now. And they're all these shotgun houses with these balconies that are just like party balconies.
Yeah.
And they're all done. I mean, they're kind of an eyesore, but once they start, tearing down everything, and they all kind of look like
Yeah, it
that,
just blends
and
in.
then it all blends in, and then like. You kind of look. It's like, man, that would be kind of nice to have that kind of rooftop like that. I mean,
that party
I
rooftop,
don't know where
dude.
that kind of really came from, but like within the last 5 years, people were really kind of promoting downtown as this like outdoor rooftop type place to party, and then that kind of went into the architecture of the homes. So now anyone downtown has this rooftop. It was an apartment complex. They definitely have like a rooftop party area. Even over here by the fucking creek has one. But then the homes have them too. And I mean, they look. I mean, I hate to say it. I hate to say it. I really do. As much as I was fighting it as it got here, it's just like, well, I mean.
Like if you were a tourist going to a city that's notoriously party city, you would love to be able to, you know, like in the middle of the day before we go out, go cook some shit, go hang out outside on top on the roof,
it's
stupid, and then go downtown.
You can't deny that. And it's also weird. It's like you see like white folks and they're like walking their dogs in these neighborhoods like you would not want to walk through like 10 years ago, and all of a sudden you have all these people just fucking just out and about. And it's just like without a care, like, you know, no one, like, at least you'd be fucking, like, I would have, like, a pocket knife or something on me, you know, I mean, but no, it's just really weird just seeing these areas like this now, man, it's crazy.
I'm sorry.
You never had a pocket knife?
The funny thing is this, the funny shit is this, when white people be nervous for other white people, that shit is funny, they like, hello, what the fuck? You walking outside? What the fuck is you doing out here? Like, are you okay? Like,
a little Yorkie.
And then it'd be funny because, like, once you start seeing shit like that, like, you'll fuck up. You'll be like, damn, I'm fucking around, let my door unlocked. What's going on with me? Like, you know what I mean? Like this, it's wild. Like, my house where I'm at, like, it used to be kind of like a kind of semi-shitty neighborhood, right? But, like, my neighborhood is hella nice now, right? And when I bought my house for like 80 grand, right? They built a fucking Aldi, a fucking Planet Fitness, but then when they built that fucking Chick-fil-A over there, boy, property value went up.
Because of the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. And like, the crazy shit is this.
Is that you bought your house for that much, dude?
Yeah. Because I have been renting, the dude I bought it from, I have been renting from already for like a long ass time, right? So like, the funny shit is this, is that like in my neighborhood, right, it's every type of Hispanic you can think of over there. From Puerto Rican, Colombian, Salvadorian, Honduran, whatever, they over there, right? When I say they got every type of restaurant that's over there, right?
Markets,
markets, grocery stores, all of the shit, right?
I love having a little Mexican grocery store by my house, man.
It got so authentic over there, right? That the city changed the name of a strip of the street from Summer Avenue to Nations Highway, right? Because it's Japanese, Korean people, French people, it's a bunch of people over there, right? But then it got to be so many Hispanic people that they changed it back to Summer Avenue, and then they added a Chipotle so that they could get the white people to come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's some shit that really happened. You know what I'm saying? And like, it literally made the white people come back. And now white people be at food trucks and shit, holding the line up and shit because they can't read the menu and shit. This shit be pissing me off. You know what I mean?
That's something that if you're going to live in Nashville, you need to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much the majority of like, so I'll take my dog on a walk, and most of the places that I walk up are these, you know, the food trucks and stuff. You know, if it's females running the food truck, you got a pretty good chance of them knowing English and everything, or at least trying to help you out. But a dude's not gonna fuck with you.
Oh, yeah.
So you need to fucking know
You
exactly.
better have Google Translate on 10.
You have that ready. Have it memorized before you get there.
Right.
And you're getting the white boy tax on
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Like, this is $30.
Right. Yeah.
They'll do that. Dude, I'll go to like jobs and they'll be like the women that cook food, and they'll pull up in their truck and they'll sell plates all day out of the back of their truck. And this lady pulled up. It was her by herself. One lady. She pulled out a fucking wad of cash.
Oh, yeah.
That's all they take is cash. And I mean, it's just a wad like this. And it's one lady by herself. I'm like, that's a walking lick right there. Like, the right person sees
But here's
that.
the thing, though. It may seem like it, but she got a sawed-off shotgun and them leggings, and she gonna blow your fucking legs off. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what's wild. And it's because, like, in my neighborhood, it was a lady. She did the same shit. Now she got like a fire-ass restaurant and some more shit. But like, she had like an old 1994 Tercel, right? 5 o'clock in the morning. She in the neighborhood. She'll come down the street, doo-doo-doo. Come back, doo-doo-doo.
Oh, door to door?
Nah, she just honked the horn at like 5:30 in the morning. Oh, and then that's it. That's how you know everybody's like, oh, motherfuckers is up, right? They get ready to go to work. She hit the street again. She be at the end of the block. Everybody, whoo. just pull up, getting tamales. You know what I'm saying? 2 for $1. You know what I'm saying? Killing them. I done ate plenty of them motherfuckers with some eggs. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and she did that shit, and now she got a whole restaurant, you know what I'm saying, and everything like that. So it was like, motherfuckers are smart, bro. Motherfuckers are smart. That's why I have no sympathy for lazy ass people. Like when I see them, they be like, oh, I can't get no money, whatever. What? Go fucking get you a can of corn and mow that shit down. And make you some chips or some shit. You know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like
motherfuckers don't want to do
for
anything
real.
more. Like they want to stand on the street corner. Now I see young fucking people. I mean, really young dudes on the street corners here in Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, you can get a fucking job.
Right.
Man. I mean, you know, just. Yeah, I know. Especially if you're on the street, it's gonna be hard to get back off the street. But I mean, you can do it. I mean, it's just like.
It was funny. It's this like Puerto Rican dude, right? That I used to live on my old neighborhood down the street or whatever. And like dude he would be down bad, right? Like he would see him, he'd be like, man, I'm kinda fucked up, need some help, blah, this and that. And he was like, if I could just get a couple dollars, this and that. So he would just collect change from people, all right? And every time you see him, you'd be like, what are you buying, bro? And he's like, I'm just buying like aloe vera plants and shit like that or whatever, right? This motherfucker, summertime, rich. He took the aloe vera plants that he had, right? And then he made basically like, you know, when you get sunburned and shit, he made like little lotions and shit for people or whatever. He sold them or whatever. And then he took the plants, because, you know, you can basically take them junk and then cook them. And that's just tequila. Did you know that?
No.
Yes, fool.
All right.
Yes.
So he was like making aloe vera whiskey?
Yes, no, so he would take like the ones once they got big, he would take them and cut them down, and then basically you get it all the way down. It's like a giant ball, pretty much, right? When you cut all the leaves off. Yeah, you put them in this like furnace for like 14, 15 hours or some shit, and then it like makes like an oil and shit, and then you mash them and shit. You got this oil. You ferment the fucking oil and shit. This motherfucker is tequila. Right. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm talking about he over here selling bottles, $10. $10. I done bought 50. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what, bro? Summertime, he is making bankroll. And then imagine this, you like, bro, I done got sunburned. I'm hot. I don't want to do shit. I want to buy some tequila and let me get some of this aloe vera to cool off.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Right?
All right.
You can make money any kind of way. Yeah. Any kind of way. You know what I mean? That's how I be thinking about shit.
So he was like panhandle for money to buy plants?
Yeah, because he was down bad. Like he really just didn't have it. You know what I mean? Like he started off kind of like a homeless dude almost. You know what I'm saying? Because like you would see him you would see him at like restaurants and shit or whatever, and he'd be like asking for change, and he would always have the same story. He'd be like, oh, I just come.
Where did he grow them at? Like
and
he had a house and shit?
Yeah, he lived with some people, and they had a big ass backyard, and he just grew them just in the backyard in pots, 1 million pots. You know what I'm
saying? He made alcohol. He made tequila. And
yeah, because when you got like think
aloe
about
vera.
Yeah, because you just cut the leaves off, and then you can make the aloe vera with that. Or the aloe vera is the gel shit that's in there or whatever. Yeah. Right.
If you cut the stalk, it'll bleed out.
Yeah.
The aloe vera
right.
Shit.
Yeah. So
vitamin C.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And you take the rest of this shit, cook it down. Like, bro, that's amazing. Right. All you had to do was just not get caught. That's it. And they like making tequila. Motherfuckers like over there.
Yeah.
The cops know when the cops stop over there, like, we all burning shit in the backyard. They did not give a fuck. Motherfuckers be burning trash and shit. I'm like, you killing us.
You couldn't do that shit here.
Hey, I'm like, you killing us, bro. But yeah. So.
You've been living here a while, right? Mm-hmm. Were you like? Did you hear about the bridge like right by the Hardys that the homeless people caught on fire about a year ago?
So that happens a lot everywhere, and I've actually saw it happen firsthand twice. The second time I saw it was horrifying because so like the first time I saw it, I was working at an auto parts store. I was working for an AutoZone, and there was this is like one of the worst places on Murfreesboro Road to be during day or night. And it was like I was closing the store, and of course it was wintertime, so they were burning pallets. They were taking pallets from all the different businesses and taking it under at the bridge. Well, they wound up catching the woods on fire because it was just all that's around this creek. It's like a bridge, creek, all this woods. They caught the woods on fire, and the fire got so big that it was a fire tornado that was coming out from underneath of the bridge.
Oh, because the air coming from...
Yeah, and we're looking up, and there's this huge fire tornado, and fucking, paramedics and fire department are all coming, trying to get it out. I've never seen anything like that. And then the second time, on the same road, on Murfreesboro Road, but this is going to be right by where you would get onto, Briley Parkway. The encampment was on fire, and so you could see that it was where they had made buildings out of pallets. And you can see that they're on fire and everything as you're driving by, but you hear the people screaming in it where I guess they were asleep when then it caught fucking fire. And so, and I was with my sound engineer at the time, Crash, and she was like, "Is that people dying?" I was just like, just don't fucking look. And I'm just like, we could not we're stuck at a light. So we're stuck at the light, and there's people burning to death to the left of us, and we're just just trying to get through the light. We're like, holy fuck. And then the fucking EMS are coming in behind us and shit like that. Man. And so as soon as the light changes, we're pulling off, and there's all the fucking... What the fuck, man? It was just it was one of the worst places to be at the worst times.
I'm sorry to laugh like that. It was just funny because you was like, oh.
Yeah.
Hey, that's the worst time to get stuck at the light, too. I'm like, fuck, change.
Yeah, dude. Did it smell crazy as fuck?
All you smelled was the woods on fire. That's all I smelled. Because when we got up there, we were just I thought it was a bonfire that just got out of control, but you can see there was a fence line, and along the fence line they had built their little shanties, and they were all on fire. And you could hear people screaming, and it was just it was just I was looking over at Crash, and Crash was looking at me, and she was like, "Is that people dying?" I'm just oh my God, I mean, what the fuck, man? It was crazy. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is wild, bro. That is wild.
We had to clean up that one by the Hardys because they had these motherfuckers. They burnt something, right? And they caught the bridge on fire. And we had communication cables that run up underneath the bridge.
You're right.
And the next day, they sent me out there, and they're like, bust open as clay ducts. So we're up there on ladders hitting this shit. It's hot as fuck. Come to find out, it's asbestos pipes that were just been up there just breaking apart. All I had on was a COVID N95 mask.
Oh shit, I ain't gonna cut it.
You're walking
You got that shit.
There's nothing but needles and shit and straight up trash around this thing. So we get it cleaned up. 2 weeks go by, and we fixed the pipe. These motherfuckers came back, took the pipe off, built a shelter again underneath the bridge, and set it on fire again.
Wow.
And then I've never got compensated for the asbestos pipes, but I'm looking for that
Damn.
when I turn about 70 and my lungs get...
In both of those cases, if I was sitting at the light too, I just would be like, "Hey, you can't smoke crack here." And already drove.
Man, so this same place that I worked at, the auto parts store, I would go to open the store sometimes, and there would be someone passed out in the front of the building. Oh, you gotta get the fuck out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Nate Jaxon. Where are you gonna be tonight?
I'm going to Third Coast.
All right, he's gonna be at Third Coast. If you're watching this, want to go see Nate? He is in town.
I'm gonna move to that seat
Yeah.
so we can all look at each other.
No, it's okay. I know I stink. I just got off work. Nate, take it easy, brother.
For sure, bro.
How's it going, brother? Nice meeting you.
You mind if I get one more cigarette?
They're right there out by the bucket.
You want me to leave you $1?
No, you're good, brother. I'm not worried about it. No, you're good, man.
I gotta ask, man. Thank you, bro.
Bye, man.
Appreciate
Yeah,
y'all.
appreciate you, man.
All right, nice to meet you too again.
Have a good one. So you had a homeless guy outside. I call him bums. Does anyone get offended when? Do you call him? I mean, are we just passionate about it?
I think bum is an appropriate thing to say.
I'll call them
Other
a
things
bum
you
if they're
call them.
thieving from the store. I've had to deal with a bunch of thieves. But I mean, I've went out to the back, and then there was a woman who was just passed out. She had overdosed, and she had one of her friends was just kind of all pacing back and forth, and she didn't realize I had walked out. And so when she turned around, she was like, "Oh, she's just sleeping. She's just hanging out and everything." And I looked at her and I was like, "Is she okay?" Because I mean, like, it was the point where like she looked like she was dead
already. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and of course, she had, her friend had kind of woke her up, and she was kind of groggy and everything. You tell she was like fucked up. I don't know if she was overdosed to the point where she needed paramedics, but she was definitely fucked up.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that was like a common occurrence. People going into the restrooms and fucking shooting up, and then you'll try to get in, and of course, there's obviously someone that's been in there for a while, but they're up against the door, so you kind of gotta push through and then wake them up and shit. I hear places now are putting in like blue light bulbs or something like that to where they can't see their veins.
I've heard that.
Yeah. I've not
like
seen
gas
it.
stations.
Yeah, I've not seen it, but I've heard about it. I guess it's or on
That's
truck
smart.
stops. It's really
Yeah,
it's,
it's like the part. I drove by one. I can't remember what it was, but there's tons of blue lights just on the outside. And my buddy pointed out and told me that's what it was for, but I didn't know that. I thought they were just like security lights. But I guess I don't even know how that would work, how it
Yeah,
hides
I
your
didn't
veins.
know.
But apparently that's what it's
Yeah.
for, is because people
That's
shoot up
awesome.
and.
Hey, they're trying to keep their.
see, McDonald's is playing opera in order to keep homeless people away from the McDonald's. Like like I don't know if like I don't go too often, but I go probably about once a week to get a coffee, and those fucking hideous steak bagels. My God, it's like sin on a fucking bagel. But
So good though.
yeah, so good.
McDonald's breakfast is phenomenal.
Oh.
Delicious.
But like I'll get out and go into and like you'll hear the same song, like this operatic song, and then like I've asked them, it's like, why do you guys play the same song at every McDonald's? And they're like, it's to keep the homeless people away. And like, are they allergic to opera? I mean, I just
What if they're a big fan? There's
Yeah.
like a Phantom of the Opera guy out there that's just like never got a shot and
Right.
out there fucking belting every morning.
yeah. Have you got a Zen in?
No.
No.
I wish. I did not bring any with me, so I will just go tobacco nicotineless, I should say.
Nicotine free. I might have a Rogue over there if you want that.
I will take one.
Let me see. Half of them are busted, man.
What is a
Oh, that
Rogue?
sucks.
Oh, it's another pouch.
It's like a Zen. They're a little thicker, but I like them. You can find one. Most of them are busted, those motherfuckers. I need to email them and tell them I want a fucking free can. Sorry, motherfuckers.
Yeah, dude, that sucks. I've never had one like busted.
It kind of freaks me out. It's like I got a bad bag here.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I got that
what if
fentanyl pack.
There's fentanyl in here, dude. I think this one is safe.
All right.
Well, wouldn't that be a bonus if there was fentanyl in there? Like, not enough to kill you, but like enough.
Oh, yeah. That would actually be
I
pretty
mean,
sweet.
yeah, right.
I mean, there's a reason why motherfuckers are intentionally smoking fentanyl. Like, it's got to be pretty awesome.
So I've never done it before, but I mean, I would be interested in doing like, the standard dose of, I mean, but it's like a pinhead is a fatal dose or something. It's like, I don't know.
I think it's all about the ingestion. Because, like, it is a medical... They do medically use fentanyl.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you could just have, like a patch, a fentanyl patch, and you slap that on there, like, medically administered by someone, then you just conk out for a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to be awesome.
Yeah.
There's no way it's not awesome.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
Well, that's why they
there's a
had
reason.
opium dens back in the day,
Yeah.
where you'd there would be someone with you, and you would toke up until you were like out in fucking Poppy Land, and there'd be someone to make sure that they rolled you over on your side just in case you fucking choked to death.
Yeah.
They're doing that with the ketamine and shit now, which I'm really interested. I mean, I've never done ketamine before,
Right.
and but the fact that they're doing this like assisted therapy with the ketamine, like that is really intriguing to me. Like I could really, man, like I went to the dentist when I was a kid, and I had to have a tooth pulled, wisdom tooth, and the doctor had the gas on. He called it the bozo mask, so it's pretty much just the nitrous oxide. But I guess he had more nitrous oxide than it was supposed to be, because like I've had the gas on before, but I've never tripped over it. And like the longer and longer it went and everything, it's like I started to really trip out to the point where like I was having like a serious fucking psychedelic experience, and I didn't want it to stop, so I didn't want to tell him. But there was a point where like he broke the tooth instead of like pulling it completely out, and I felt it break. I didn't like feel the pain of it, but I could feel like I knew it broke, and he's like, oh man. And I'm like, oh man. And like I am like at this point like serious visuals, like I'm like hardcore tripping at this point off the fucking nitrous. Like it is like so strong. To the point where like I started to have to kind of like pat him, and I was like, I was pointing to the bozo mask and everything. So he went ahead and pulled the rest of the tooth out and everything, and he fucking took the mask off of me and everything. And then finally, I started like I was like hardcore tripping to the point where like I thought that there was a like like have you ever done acid and thought that maybe you fucked yourself up, like you've done too much acid, right? And it just like that's kind of the way it was. And so like as soon as he took it off, I started to come down off of it, and it started to kind of fade away and everything. I was like, holy fucking shit! And he goes, oh, was that too strong for you? He purposely did it. He purposely did it. He was like, oh, I figured, I went in and my hair was like Nick's and everything. So he figured I was into it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if that's like what his reputation was, but like I went in there and he was like, oh, well, we'll just give him the extra,
To have him trip balls.
I was tripping balls on purpose, yeah.
Oh,
you got a tip after that, dude.
Shit,
Slide him a 20 or something.
Yeah, no, but
Did it wear off as soon as you took the gas off?
A couple of minutes it started to fade away because you're on that and everything, but it was just like it got so intense to the point where like I no longer saw what was around me. Like it was just the colors, it was just the visuals. I was completely in that space of like, oh, I'm gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could still feel him kind of tugging on my jaw and shit and everything. So I mean, I was aware and awake, but like visually. All I was seeing was like I was being pumped up so much that all I was seeing was the visual from the nitrous oxide.
That's wild.
Yeah. And then it kind of reminded me. Probably not. You guys are too young. Like the formula for Robitussin DM back in the day was enough where kids used to get off on it.
Oh yeah.
So you would drink
DMX.
the DM. Yeah, it's dextromethorphan. It's so little in it now. You can't do it now. You have to drink so much now. It's not worth it because of all the other stuff.
C's. Of course, even cough and cold with that. Yeah.
Right. Well, I wound up doing a 6-ounce bottle of the Robitussin DM, and that's kind of like your basic dose. If you want to do a small dose, you have the little 4-ounce bottles, and then if you really want to do it, it would be the 8-ounce bottles. But we did the 6-ounce bottles, and then a friend of mine had come over. And he was getting into huffing butane, right? And so, like, we weren't into it and everything. And every once in a while. No, well, I mean, Whippets is nitrous oxide, but butane is what you would put in your lighter. In your lighter, exactly.
Oh, the huffing
right.
that
But he
shit?
also had a little contraption on it specifically made for that. Like, that's what they were into. And it's like, man, we're just not into that. So anyway, that night we were all hanging out and we were doing the Robitussin DM, and then he was just like, man, you've got to feel this on the fucking Robo, man. You got to. It's insane. So I was like, all right, I'll do it once. And I fucking did it. And just like the road that I went down, like this vortex opened up visually, and then all of a sudden I was in it, and just like, I was like, man, should I come out of this at this point? It's like, I don't know if like time like slowed down or what, but there was a point where it's like, this should have dissipated at some point. Not the Robitussin itself, but the butane aspect of it, right? And it was just like, it didn't stop. And then it's just like, I had a hard time seeing. I was just like, are you guys still feeling it? And they're like, yeah, man, it's insane. I was like, no, it is not.
How long did you feel it?
It was probably a good 10 minutes off of one hit of the butane on top of the Robitussin. It was the point where like usually when you do some type of inhalant like that, like whether it was Rush, I don't know if you guys ever heard of those little vials of that liquid called Rush. You can find it at like adult bookstores and stuff like that.
Is that like a popper? Like
they have poppers there too, but this was just a liquid. It was, and it would just give you like this, kind of euphoric head rush. But if you did it too many times, you just get a headache and feel nauseated. It was just, it was something that kind of hit while you're having sex, essentially.
Right.
But it was just things like that. They would just last, for maybe about 60 seconds, a little bit, and then they were gone. And it was just kind of for that kind of just that head rush, essentially taking that air that you would normally be breathing and replacing it with whatever chemical. And that's essentially what the butane, when people are hitting butane and stuff, from what I understand, it just lasts for a little bit, for a couple of seconds, but this was lasting for 10 minutes or so. And there was a point where I was just like, dude. And then it finally just, when it went away, it just dissipated. And I don't know if it was just because of the Robitussin or not, but it was just insane. I was just like, man, I think I fucked myself up, man. Because I've tripped acid before.
Dude,
and thought
I feel like
myself
I
up.
screwed myself up a lot when I was a teenager, when I was smoking those the incense, the fake weed.
Yep.
Back
One time,
in,
that's all I
K2.
needed.
Because you and I are about the same age.
Yeah.
You're what, 30?
29.
29?
Yeah.
31.
Yeah.
30. I'll be 31 later this year. Yeah, so that...
Yeah, I had the same experience. Like when I was first started weed, early high school, it was $5 weed, just mid is what we call it. We didn't have loud, just a $5 bag of weed. And me and my buddies, we would smoke on the weekends. I loved it. It would just goof off, have a good time. Well, it got into a point. I guess my dad was kind of suspicious, and he was like, could you pass a drug test right now? And I was like, yeah. I called his bluff. He didn't drug test me, but then I stopped because I was scared. So then months had went by, maybe 4 or 5 months. I smoked that synthetic salvia incense shit.
Yeah.
Salvia or incense? Was it salvia?
It was the legal K2. I don't know
K2.
what it was.
All right.
K2 is the name.
Salvia is different.
Yeah.
Salvia is
that's
different.
not the synthetic weed?
No, salvia is salvia.
I got so fucked up. I thought I was falling through the
K2
earth.
is one of the names of those fake weeds.
brands?
Yeah.
Oh
the
my God.
incense.
Not for human consumption.
And I said I would never do
Yeah.
anything like that again.
But,
That's the
my
same
buddies-
time I did the robo. Sorry.
Yeah, well, it just it was like a high, but it had such an intense panic
Yeah.
with it. Like it wasn't the kind of anxiety that weed would give you, almost. If that makes sense.
I was just tripping the fuck out.
Yeah, it was tripping,
God, this
dude.
is awful.
Straight up it was terrible. It it was never an enjoyable time. Weed relaxes you normally, you know what I mean? This stuff put you in an instant panic.
That's not good. There's no telling what you're smoking.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably about 20 years ago, this is before, you started having the THCA bud and all the stuff that you have now. All we had was that K2 stuff. If you didn't have any weed, if there was a drought, back when there were droughts, holy fuck. So we had some kind of, I don't know, it was a holiday where we just had a bunch of people over, but no one had any weed. So we're like, well, fuck it, let's just go up and get this, K2 shit people were talking about. And we brought it home, smoked it in a bong. And no one really got high off of it. No one really felt anything off of it. It was just, it was just worthless. But it was just, we were looking at it though, and it's like, well, what the fuck is this? I mean, is this something that maybe they sprayed something on? Because it looked kind of like that shit that you would go an old woman's house and she had the bowl of
potpourri?
dried potpourri.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looked like, was potpourri. It just it was just chunks of just random plant debris, and then maybe they sprayed it with some shit that I guess was supposed to get you high.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But it was not a good time, and it was not a good alternative.
No. The THCA that they have now is a decent alternative. I mean, if you can't find any bud, I mean, to go into and they're calling them dispensaries, which is very bold here. It says, I'm surprised that they're calling them dispensaries here. But to go into one and you can just walk out with some flower of THCA is a trip.
But it doesn't get you high the same way, does it?
I call it work weed. A lot of people call it diet weed, and
diet weed.
so
That's
CBD
what I
is different.
call it.
CBD doesn't get you high at all,
Right.
but you can find flower of that. But the THCA, man,
Does.
it gets you high, but for 20 minutes as opposed to an hour and a half. It's just it's one of those things where you can go on your lunch break and smoke a joint, go eat, whatever. By the time that you get back to work, you're completely sober. It's really a weird high.
Does it feel the same?
I mean, you feel high, but then it's very quick. It's like when I went up to Illinois, and it was before they were having it here. we were told that they had recreational legal weed there.
Mm-hmm.
But everywhere we went, every fucking dispensary that we went to, it was all THCA. You look at the back of it, it was always, a percentage, and most of that percentage was THCA, and a slight percentage would be whatever, the Delta 9, I think it was, or CBD, I think even. Now, from what I was told about this, and it still doesn't really make sense, because if someone who has done both, the THCA, I know THCA now for the fact that if I smoke it to the point where like it's a very short duration, it's like, all right, I just got sold THCA.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, you can smoke a joint and watch a movie, and by the time the movie's ended, you're still high, right? To oppose where you can smoke a joint before watching a movie, and then you're wanting to smoke another joint before the movie's even over. So there's definitely a difference between the durations.
Mm-hmm.
Does it cost more?
No, it's the same. Yeah, but what they say about it is that all weed is THCA, is what they're saying. They're saying that as long as like whatever weed that you grow, if it's Delta 9 weed, as long as you keep it from in pristine condition as far as not allowing it to dry out and everything, because there's that drying out process that causes it to break down, and it's breaking down chemically and becoming Delta 9. And the same as if you had THCA and then you smoked it, burning it creates that process. So either way, they're saying that you're getting the Delta 9 weed, whether it's just weed that's been sitting around that broke down into Delta 9 and then still smoked and Delta 9, or if it's THCA kept pristine and then doesn't break down the Delta 9 until the moment that you hit fire to it. From what I was told.
That's what I've heard, but I just don't smoke.
Yeah.
So it's like I've heard some purist weeds are like, no, that's bullshit.
Yeah,
And
it's
those,
just
like,
but it is diet weed. It's just diet.
it's
So,
just
but
different.
to me, it is the duration, because it's like, especially going up in Illinois where I'm going to the dispensaries and everything, like 20 minutes later, we're completely fucking sober. I was like, well, fuck, man, And so we wound up burning through some weed up there just because we were just smoking all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm. It sounds like it might be convenient though at some points if you could just if I could just be drunk for 20 minutes and sober and just
and
go
then
drive
you can
home
just,
or
like,
fucking
do
go
stuff.
to work or something.
Right.
Sometimes it does make you a little tired though.
Oh, okay.
Or a headache.
Wow.
So if you smoke, to me, like that weekend that I spent in Illinois, at the end of that week, I started to really get nauseated, and I got to the point where I didn't want to smoke the weed anymore. Then when I got home and hit our own stash, and it was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Like there was an instant difference from like burning from my stash that I had here.
Right.
So I would like it for us to get to the point where we would have to go through some dude that we could actually go into a shop like other states enjoy.
I'm still surprised it's taken this long. Whether that's like how long it's been in Colorado, I thought that was going to be a real. In a lot of states, it's probably like 20 states, 25 states.
Well, now that they've
something like
rescheduled, I think we're going to start seeing a lot, especially with Biden. I think if Biden winds up winning,
how
or
they
one of
reclassify.
the things that he'll probably even talk about is just at the whole level now, just making it recreational, because that would definitely get him a lot of swing votes.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that they now did it as a Schedule 3, I think that we're probably going to be. I've always said this: Kentucky's going to have to do it first.
Yeah.
Tennessee will not do it until Kentucky does it. Kentucky does it, then we'll do it.
Yep. And then from there, Georgia. And,
Everybody else. Well, I mean, you see the revenue that all these states are making, especially Illinois. Illinois, their first year of fucking selling weed, man. I mean, they ran out of weed, and hell, maybe that's why they have a lot of
Tennessee
THCA.
honestly made a lot of money selling THCA because they have like taxes added on top
To the
of it
THCA.
at like those dispensaries and everything.
No shit.
Yeah, they do.
And with the amount of tourism that we already have here, if you can add weed tourism to
Yeah, like
Nashville's
people coming
vibe,
in and
then that
paying
just
the weed tax that we
Well,
have.
they
and
do that in Colorado, where they'll have limos that will take you on a tour of all the different coffee shops and dispensaries, and they even have like you get into the limousine and they already have weed there for you to sample and try and everything, and then you guys can just get high there in the limo. They take you all over the different places. It's pretty crazy.
Colorado is awesome.
I would really like to go. I mean,
want to go. I've never been.
there's no reason like to go to Amsterdam anymore because
Yeah.
we've got all that. We've got better weed.
We don't have the sex tourism like Amsterdam.
That's what I was
They
about
get
to
the
say.
sex
I was like
shows
that
and
would be the one reason to go because that is where dude. So like
I have a buddy that he played for like the junior hockey team for USA or whatever, and
That's awesome.
And he was like 18, 19, something like that, and they went to Amsterdam, and when you're that young, you're like Amsterdam, like I'm doing every fucking thing, and he said he went to one of the whorehouses or whatever, but it doesn't have the stigma that like sex work here has,
No.
and it was very professional. It's like you go there, you pick which one, you shower, she showers. You come out, there's condoms, there's towels and everything like that. Y'all do whatever you agreed to pay for. Y'all both shower again, and then that's it. And it's just a purely entertainment transactional thing. There's none of this like dark air or
it's
like weird
European date night.
Yeah.
And that was something that I didn't realize when I went there. It was just like, because I kind of made it awkward to the point where I was just in there and I just got, it was bad anyway, but I mean, it was like, I just got it over with. And she kind of made me realize, I was like, oh, wait a minute. You're not here to fuck as many dudes as possible. You're here to fuck the one dude and spend some time with him and everything. And then like, this is like date night on top of, she's making money on it and stuff. It was like the way that they look at sex and everything, it isn't like you said, the stigma that we have it here, like it's a dirty thing. It's like, that's just kind of the way that they do things there. And so it was kind of a learning experience for me as far as that is that, I first of all, it was bad, 100% bad. Like it's not something I wanted to continue. Like I pretended to come in order to get it to stop. I mean, I just like, it was horrible.
Was she ugly?
No, she was like really cute Italian chick, man. Like thick accent and everything. It was just like, but
Nice.
she hit me with a fucking riding crop.
Oh wow.
Oh, I would have been
Dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck that.
So-
That was
Alright.
a lot.
So my wife and I were like, went to Amsterdam in order to do it up and everything. But earlier in that day, there was all these like fine Asian chicks and everything that I was like had my eye on, and so we were gonna get us an Asian chick. Well, after that, as we were trying to look around and everything, she winds up getting like this big ball of fucking cocaine for fucking 50 euros. And she was like, you go do whatever. I'm going to go back to the hotel and I'm going to do this cocaine. And I'm like, well,
wild.
yeah, I'm like, all right, whatever. So then like I go back through and everything. I go to a coffee shop and then like I'm fucking like chiefing out. And then I can't find any of the girls I'd kind of seen earlier and everything. And then I kind of had just given up and started to go back to the hotel room. And then I get hit hard in the chest with a fucking riding crop. And then, like, right as my adrenaline got up, right before I got pissed off, I heard, where are you going, filthy boy? And this, like, fucking thick Italian accent. And I turned around, and she's, like, maybe 5'3", fucking stacked, hourglass, just, dark olive skin, fucking beautiful. And then before I know it, she's, like, drawing me into the room. It's just like, and I'm just, all of a sudden, I'm in the room and shit. And then it's like a mix between a doctor's office and a bedroom. Like there's a sink, but there's also, I mean, it was crazy. But, dude, it was,
I could see how that would be like, in your mind, you could like hype it up, like, I'm going to go, pay for a prostitute. But then when it actually comes to it, it's like, this really isn't that cool. Like, this is really uncomfortable. Was it not just uncomfortable? Was the place?
So, no, not the place or the aesthetic, really. It was kind of maybe a little bit more than I expected,
Okay.
But, like, her thing was that she was trying to be like a dominatrix or something like that. Hence the riding crop.
Yeah.
So, like, she was just really rough with me. And there was a point where, like she wasn't sucking my dick as much as, like, she was trying to, like, ram my cock through my body and through the mattress to hit it against the cement floor.
Oh.
It was just like, there was just a lot of pain involved. And then she got on and it was just a lot more of pain. And I just wanted to stop. And first of all, she wouldn't let me fucking like take my pants off. Like she pulled my pants down, and then my pants are around my ankles.
Is this when you got a prostitute?
Yeah, and then like so then my legs are bound together, and then she pushes me on the fucking bed. So now I'm like a rape victim, where I'm like all hogtied and shit. And then she's like gonna do whatever, and it was just abuse. It was nothing but abuse. There was nothing like sexy about it. I did not want. I paid for 30 minutes, 50 euros for 30 minutes, and I didn't even. I did 10.
That last sentence felt like a still from a documentary of you being abused.
I mean,
that I would, I would not be in there for that.
It was not enjoyable.
I'm a married man. I can't even have this conversation, but
yeah.
there you go.
Well, I was there on my
trying to get where
honeymoon.
you're at, dude. I'm trying to find the Lord.
Good luck with that, man. He's in the good
Oh,
book, man.
But you know, trying to.
Trying to settle down.
I think if
Oh,
anybody
yeah, definitely.
has an opportunity to go to
Definitely.
Europe, I think definitely go to Amsterdam, and then to wherever. We were originally going to go and backpack around Europe. So when we got to Amsterdam, we were going to spend a day or two there.
Yeah.
We spent all 14 days there. There was no
Yeah,
reason.
you should have ended in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So you just you flew straight to Amsterdam for the trip?
Well, we did to Amsterdam because that's Schiphol to airport. And it's right in the middle of everything. And then our idea is that we were just going to take a train. We had passports and everything.
Yeah, you can just get around.
Yeah. So we were just going to go to Germany. Fucking check out Germany first, and then hit back around and go through see France and all that, Spain and shit. But when we got to fucking our hotel room, and then we decided, let's go to the red light district. So as soon as we get checked in, we threw our shit in the hotel room. We were at the Swiss Hotel, which is directly right across the street from the red light district. Purposely, for us booking it, we went directly over there. We found the first, I guess you could call it a coffee shop. They were calling it a hash bar, but it was the best hash I've ever had in my life. It was like this red, spicy kind of fucking hash. Fucking the best. There was all kinds of hash there. And a lot of people like to take hash and mix it up with tobacco in their spliffs.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like it just hitting it straight on. Then we went to the old church, got some fucking killer bud, and then just walked around the red light district, man, just checking it out. It was like adult Disneyland. It's really crazy.
Yeah, and I could never go there for the same reason that I don't go to Vegas. I couldn't go to Vegas. I can't even go to Bonnaroo. It's just that level of just you can have so much indulgence. I wouldn't handle it well.
Well,
I
at
would
the
just go
time,
crazy. I mean, now I'm a little older and I'm married, so that's a little different. But if I was even 4 or 5 years ago, I would be going fucking nuts.
Yeah, it was really a great place as far as it was very cheap. I mean, you can get most of the prostitutes were 50 euros, which is about $65, which is I got different rates as time depending on the person, whether it was 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So I guess the uglier I was, I got 20 minutes. But the bud was great. You can get bud from $8 to $10 a gram and everything, and it was all this award-winning shit.
Yeah.
And some of the things that I had heard about, purple haze that you hear about all your life, and they have purple haze there. Oh fuck, purple haze, and the worst weed I have ever smoked in my entire life. Horrible, and tried it from different places. And it was just it's the same. It was fungusy, almost the purple on it was from a fungus almost. It was just horrible. But then you would hear all this, the types of weeds that from everybody's no, you gotta try this, you gotta find this. And so there were two. One was, of course, Willie Nelson, and then the other one was called
Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam, yeah. And then the other one's called Jack Herer. He wrote the Emperor's New Clothes or something like that. But anyway, Wears No Clothes. I don't know. But anyway, when we hit, we got a lot of the famous ones like White Widow and White Rhino. The White Widow was insane because it had the powder to it, it was a powdered donut, and there's all these great ones. But then when we finally hit the Willie Nelson, dude, like my first toke off the Willie Nelson was like Willie Nelson himself punched me dead in my fucking face. It was just like, whoa. There's a picture that my wife snapped of when I fucking hit it, and back before digital cameras, so we were rocking the fucking disposable, and she just happened to snap it, and the look on my fucking face was crazy. And then we did the Jack Hara. We found it at another place, and it's like we found like the strongest ones like our like last days of our trip there. And dude, it's like when you think that you can't get any higher, yes, you can.
Yeah, you can find new levels.
There's always going to be that one weed that was just a little bit stronger than you fucking thought, man. And yeah, it was. There was a place called the Three Floors, and there was everything in Amsterdam or in Europe is in levels, but this one was 3 levels, and it was a fairly big joint. It was called the Three Floors, and we were at the highest floor, which was like a third of the floor of the rest. You could see down each level, you know, because the floors are getting smaller as they go up, so you can kind of see the expanse of the place. And there's even like a chandelier that's over, so like just the aesthetic of the place is just made for doing fucking drugs. And we did the fucking Jack Hara there, man. And dude, that was probably the strongest weed I've ever had in my life. It was crazy.
And this was what, 20 years ago, you said?
2006, yeah.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Wow. Dude.
Yeah. No place actually had real skunk. They had everything that was called skunk, but nothing was skunk. Like I've had real skunk before. Like if it smells like someone hit an actual skunk on the road, that's skunk. Like when I was a kid, man, the very first, and I ran into it probably about 3 times my whole entire life, and it was early when I was a fucking kid. But the very first time I ever experienced it, we were waiting on some friends to get home, and it was me and my girlfriend and the guy's sister. Well, the guy pulls up in his car, and as soon as they're like driving in, you can smell like they hit a skunk, and you're like, oh, dude, they hit a skunk, and they stopped. And when they stopped, it was just so fucking strong. And then they opened up the doors, and it just fucking pelted you in the fucking face. And you're like, Jesus Christ, did you fucking hit a skunk? And they're just laughing. They're just smiling. And like, so we go in, and it's just permeating everything, and they fucking throw out this fucking weed, and it's just so dank. I mean, it really fucking smells like that someone took like skunk glands and just squeezed it all over. I mean, it was so fucking pungent.
Is that a good thing? This is a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it's a good thing. It's like that you're definitely gonna get pulled over if you know you're fucked. But yeah, no, dude, man, it's like that was the first time, and it was like really fuck. I mean, like as far as like great shit. I mean, that's one of the, and we wound up playing quarters on top of that. I wound up getting so fucked up that I had to go outside and puke, and then I kind of got lost, and then I found a swimming pool and just kind of swam for a little while. Why, I don't know. I guess maybe because I was drunk and high. And so I come back, and I'm soaking fucking wet and everything. And I'm like, where the fuck did you go? And I was like, I was swimming in your neighbor's pool. And like, I don't have any neighbors that have pools. And I was like, well, someone had a pool. Yeah, they're like, yeah, exactly. Like, we don't know where you went swimming, but sure, there's no pool.
Quarters is like the bouncing game, right?
Yeah. So
we
essentially,
never like played that, but
I played that a little bit.
We never did growing up. My dad told me about it, and I'm like, but you drank the shot with the quarter in.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
fuck that. Dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so. If you were an animal, you would have like, so everyone would have their own shot glass or beer or whatever it was. Sometimes you had to chug a beer, but then you would have like the community glass where you just put the quarter in and you don't drink from that one. You can have your own one.
I think our generation, it was beer pong was the thing. Cause that
is exactly.
Or like Ring of Fire. Did you play that?
The card game where they put it in the top of the beer. Yeah, we played that a good bit. Yeah.
That and like beer pong, those were like, that's like the millennial games.
Yeah. I wish Flip Cup would have been bigger. Because beer pong always was
Flip
just
Cup
like,
is
people
kinda
got too
popular
competitive
now.
and aggressive with it, and like fuckers would fight over goddamn beer pong.
Oh, I remember working Kmart and we were selling kits for beer pong where it had the plastic solo cups and the paddles and shit like that.
Yeah, dude, you made a lot of frat boys very happy.
Dude, and they were popular too, man. Yeah. Fucking, there was these guys that would come in and they would buy flag football sets. And then they would go and buy like cases of beer. And so every other weekend they would get super fucking trashed and fucking play flag football, and they would just destroy each other. And he was like, dude, they would be about my age now, but I mean, it was crazy, man. It was just like, you guys trying to kill your fucking self. But it was insane, the things that some people do just for entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least they're getting active.
Yeah.
Moving around.
they're out
Getting their
there.
Throwing a
cardio.
ball across it. I've played beer pong on tables like this.
Yeah,
Where you're just
I've
like,
tons.
everyone stands back 30 feet. Played on a door that some frat boy ran through earlier in the night, and just like,
Yeah, you propped it up on 2 stools.
yeah,
or
it's just like,
something.
all right, let's go. I never really cared for beer pong. I sucked, but
I
it just
suck
always was
at
like,
it
this
too,
is not.
but
I'd rather just
I
go get drunk
always-
and try to talk to somebody.
Yeah,
this
you
damn
always
ping
end
pong
up
ball.
having to play though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like, I don't know. And especially if you win, you're like, I gotta keep playing this fucking stupid shit. I like Flip
That's
Cup. Flip
true.
Cup was fun because there's like everyone was involved. Like you could have as many people as you want to play, and everyone could sit there and fucking play,
Just fucking-
rather than like
Flip
two
Cup,
like
dude.
hotheads on either side of the table. Just,
You can't really do it with this one, I guess. I don't know.
you weren't very good at it, huh?
I'm not good at it. You want to give it a try, dog?
We're
I
gonna
know.
have him flip. I don't even know if you guys can see this right now, but
shit.
It's the cups.
Or flip cup.
Those aren't regulation cups. I only play on regulation red solo cups.
These are
Hefty. I didn't
though.
even know they made fucking.
Dude, they make these little shot glasses that we
I almost
use.
called it cutlery, but I don't think that would be the term for that.
No, drinkware.
Drinkware.
Drinkware, I think is what you would call it.
Where's shot joint? You ain't taking shots?
No, dude.
No, this is the impromptu show. Usually we have our
Yeah.
Wednesday shows, but we did that already. And
With
then,
John and Micah this week, it was very fun.
Like a cone?
Cone.
Yes.
John
Y'all-
Dollar and
y'all
Micah
did, like,
Cone.
A podcast setup?
Yeah. We had, John and Micah were.
Well, it's kind of nice to be able to do these shows here where we don't have the big production. It takes a lot to do the other show as far as having the bands and the comedians and the solo acts. And,
Right.
this is a little kind of toned down. Speaking of, get a beer.
Yeah, we just like hang out, sit, and talk on this one,
Oh, yeah. Talk shit.
The production value is a lot lower. It's just something to pump
Can you
out
grab
more
one of those?
content,
Yeah.
And I look at it as kind of like being able to, document some of like the comedy scene here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
They have more of a footprint of it.
It's also, it's a good way to, like, you just build more relationships with people, in a sense. We're all obviously trying to do something for people that are listening, but
Right, dude.
the more you interact, the more you get to know each other. And this is a good way to kind of just long-form talk to people, because other than that, like, we're doing the typical DNP show, or we're at an open mic, so we're, like, talking kind of in passing. We're watching other stuff, and then everyone goes home.
Right.
So it's more of, like, a way to, like, just kind of get to know people.
Right, exactly. Like when I started, Carl had his podcast CR3, the Badumching, and that was cool for me to listen to when I was like a new comic in the scene, because I was like listening to episodes about like Eddie and Allison and like Evan Burke and Will Abels has done one. A bunch of people in the scene have done that.
Right.
But Carl stopped it. He went super heavy in like 2021 and like early 22, and then stopped it. Carl, I wish you would fucking bring it back. We need to clip this piece out. Carl, fucking bring back the Badum Ching. Damn it.
He's really funny. He's one of my favorite people. That, like,
I
he's one of those
fucking
people
love
that, like,
him.
no matter what, I always watch him.
Carl Burrell.
Carl Roberts.
Carl Roberts III, CR3.
Any one-liner guy, like,
I can't get him.
I gotta watch.
I can't get him on the show.
I'll
I've tried
get him.
for 3
I'll
years.
get him on the fucking. I'll get him on the damn show. Ah, I'll get him.
Shout out to Grandma. He's watching the show.
What's up, Grandma?
Who's Grandma?
A fan that gave us dildos.
Where are they at?
They are
Stick 'em
over
in with
there
each
at
other,
the
dude. Let's give
bookcase,
people
dude.
something to watch.
Hey, our prizes are over there. Our Funko Pops.
Wait, you have
Grandma's been
prizes that
watching
are
ever
delivered?
since our very first season 5 years ago.
Do you know him?
I don't know them personally, but Rev knows them.
Yeah, I went and picked up some dildos. We were gonna originally.
That's a loud sentence.
We're
dude.
really.
These
I have a
From
band
Grandma.
called Oddlid, which is dildo backwards, and so I was gonna use the dildos for the performance, and then because of YouTube, everyone decided that maybe I should not do it, so I didn't. So we have them for prizes now. Didn't Erica win one last week?
Erica won one last week.
Yeah. So they're good.
So, could you perform with them and just blur them out and get around this YouTube thing and just make it like a thing where people know that it is? And
If we pre-recorded it and edited it with the mosaic on there and everything, and then put it on there, then yes. But we were doing this live.
oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So like that would not fly.
No,
on
not
YouTube.
at all.
Alright.
I will show you.
That's
too
kinda small,
on
huh?
Camera. This blue line is, I believe, the camera. So,
Yep.
there you go.
Circumcised too, not good.
Not good. Not good.
Do you like an
Honestly,
aardvark?
It looks way too familiar to me.
I think you rock what God gave you is what I say, Vern.
Yeah, dude. Amen, dog.
Alright. Let's see, what are we at for time? We're still doing good. We've been
What
doing
else
about
do
an
we
hour.
have going on?
I have literally nothing going on in my personal life, my professional life, my comedy career. I am just existing in all spaces and forms right now, man.
I know I've got a show at Third Coast tomorrow that is it's Hunter Boris's Wanted show. I think he's doing it at the Annex.
Yep.
The flyer says it's at the Loft, but it's at the Annex.
The Annex, I think, is a way cooler room.
It is. I should try to move Funny on the Spot over there. It's just like I haven't sold out the Loft shows yet.
Is the Annex bigger?
Yes, the Annex seats like 120 or something, and the
Oh, wow, I
Loft
didn't know
seats like 40.
Yeah.
So like I usually get a little more than half capacity on that show every month. My next one is June 7th, that first Friday of June. Please come to the show. And yeah, I mean but I do have that show tomorrow with Hunter.
Yeah.
And then I have Funny on the Spot here in a couple weeks again.
Yeah, Jason's going to be on that show tomorrow. So Jason's one of my closer buddies in the scene. Yeah, so he's going to be on it, yeah.
Hell yeah. So we'll be hanging out tomorrow.
Yeah, I
then.
might pop up and just hang out and check it out. That is a really cool room that they have over there that just opened up. Like, really cool.
It is. I like it a lot. I actually haven't done a set in there yet, so
Yeah.
this will be my first one. I'm excited to like do that room. The Loft, like I do it a lot. The main room, I'm lucky I get to do it quite a bit.
You put a show on in the main room?
No. I just get thrown on like shows.
Oh, that's
there.
cool,
Like the
yeah.
main showcase and the Stone Cold Sober, I get on that one quite a bit.
That's pretty sweet.
And you know, it's fun. I'm glad.
Yeah, that's
I'm glad that we get to. I'm glad we have a third room. You know.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. I would like to run another show. I just don't know what other concept I would bring. You know?
It just seems like such a hassle.
I
to
like
and then,
just producing the Crowdwork show because I have to post it on Facebook a fuck ton, and like none of that helps. And
I mean, people that put on shows, God bless them, even people that host open mics every week, it's like I want to do my like 4 or 5 minutes or do a longer show. I just want to do what I want to, like my shit, and then be able to just hang out. Like people that are just committed to every week, just sitting there listening to 25 people over and over and over. And then people that produce more shows, and then they're like bothered by people like, let me get on the show, or like
that's why I
they're
book
having to
other
play
people
these,
to run
like-
my mic.
yeah, it's like, oh my God, there's just like having to, I just want to do the comedy part. I just want to go up and bomb for 5 minutes and then, do my thing. It's just like, the because you can kind of see it just even at an open. I was like, hey, can I just come up? So I got somewhere to be at 30 minutes, and I'm like, I don't even want to deal with that. And people are like, oh, I got to get bumped at the open. I'm like, I don't even want to deal with that. It's just like, I don't want to that seems like a lot.
Dude, it's tough. And it is tough to have to turn people away from the open mic, too. Like, with Love and Exile, every now and then, since I've started capping it, there's been a couple nights where I've turned people away.
Yeah.
That got there, like, last minute.
Yeah, and it's like, at some point it has to end, so it's like, you can't just fucking go on for 4 hours, but
You're right.
it does suck, just like, this is, you're in the right spot to want to try comedy, but it's like, you can't do it today.
Exactly. It is a pain. And it's harder when it's like people you've known for a while, or even people you consider friends, or just colleagues, right? It can be a little hard sometimes to like turn them down and be like, hey man, like, sorry, can you just like please do me a favor this week and just like, hey, we're done this week, Yeah, it can be hard sometimes hosting a mic and a show, like just the production behind it and the work you have to do,
Yeah. So Rev, do you do stand up at all, or you have in the past, or you just music, but like you like just producing stuff?
When I was a kid, is when I really got into stand up, like early on, and that's really what I wanted to do. And I did stand up a couple of times, like I was talking before, like you open up for your friend's band.
Right.
But then once I started getting high, I started getting into playing music, and I really kind of got in. Music just seemed like there was no opportunity for a 13-year-old kid to do comedy in Nashville at 1986 or some shit like that. So there's no, but music was definitely what you can get into. And so like I tried doing, as far as being like, opening it for like, dudes bands and shit. But that never goes well because A, it's in front of people that you know and they've already heard your bullshit before,
Right.
Or it's people that don't want to hear you at fucking all, they just want to fucking hear the band.
Right.
But here recently I have been writing, especially, 6 months ago, I kind of got to the point where like I wasn't doing anything. I just kind of had a lot of time. And so I kind of was just writing out and wanting to get out. And before Twin Kegs closed down, I was trying to get out to Kelsey's open mic. But every time I got there, of course, it was already filled up. And I'm not going to go up at 10 o'clock to play to Kelsey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. At the end of the mic over there, at most nights,
Majority
it would
of the
be
nights.
just the comics. We're all in the back. Like, we're kind of supportive, but also a lot of times we're like just talking.
Or outside. Yeah, exactly. So I've been continuing to write because that's what I really want to do when we take the break from the show. Is I want to start doing some open mics. Because I've got some really, like, not only the stories and everything, but I mean just instances that have come up recently that I've kind of written and just kind of made fun of and stuff. It's just I really want to do it, and so like I'm ready to do it, and I've kind of like, especially within the last few years, watching a lot of the comedians
Right.
and listening to a lot of comedians, I've kind of like got a lot of things worked out. I don't have like a character. I'm not. I dropped the whole idea of doing any type of character. The only thing I really kept is the name Rev, just because that's the only way no one knows my fucking real name. Everyone
Right.
knows me as fucking Rev, and I just, so it's going to be hard to drop that. But I mean, as far as like doing any type of character like I was doing before, I've not done that. I'm not going to go up and try to do a character, and I'm not going to try to go up there.
Are you
And
going to go up with your actual name?
no, I'm Rev. It's my stage name.
You're just
Yeah, Rev is my stage name. I mean, but for the most part, I mean, it's like I really had it like hammered out. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna brag or anything, but I had like a solid 10 minutes. Not that I was gonna go up and do a solid 10 minutes, but I had like at that time, because I wasn't doing anything. We weren't doing the show. We were on the holiday break. Like all day long at work while I'm, at work, I've got it going in my head. And, like, if I'm sitting in traffic, I'm going through it in my head. It's
Right.
like, I had it tight. Like, I just wanted to get up there and just fucking rocket launch. And I didn't have the opportunity because every time I was going to Twin Kegs, for whatever reason, someone else was booking that, or that I didn't know that was hosting, that I didn't know was hosting. And so I never really got onto it. And I really wanted to do Twin Kegs because I played there in my bands, several different bands. So I mean, I'm comfortable
there.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
That place was awesome. As
Yeah,
shitty
yeah,
as it was. Like everyone loved and hated that place.
Right. Did we tell you the Prince flag back there is from?
Is it from Kegs?
Yes, I
They
bought
still haven't
it
done
from
anything.
Todd.
You bought it? You should have stole it.
Nah, dude. Todd was like, he was at the end of it when he was like selling everything. We also bought some of the microphones.
Yeah, we
I
leveled
guess-
up equipment-wise.
He was like,
So we got some new equipment out of it, Some of the mics that we have now are some of the ones that you and I yelled into 100%.
mics I bombed through. It's just
Yeah, like
oh
all
my
beaten
God,
up
like-
and everything.
Never once did I even do okay at Kegs. Not once. Just like every time.
The
just,
first
like,
place
looked
I
good
ever
ever.
did stand-up comedy. I had a lot of good memories of that place.
Oh,
during
Kegs
the
was?
pandemic.
I've had a lot of
Yes.
people say that.
Yeah,
Kanan,
dude, it was
Hobbs,
just
you.
I wanted mine to be there, yeah.
there were so many nights that we would run jokes in front of each other with like a small crowd or no crowd,
Yeah.
right? Every now and then we'd get more than 10, 15, 20
Yeah.
people in
Yeah,
there,
10
right?
people's a fucking killer
Like
open mic.
every now and then it would like the room would be packed,
Mhm.
right? And I mean, we had so many late nights there. A lot of them were nights where it was just us and a handful of audience members
Mhm.
doing the whole night together, and we're all just like hanging out on the patio all night, and like everyone stayed and we all hung out late together.
Yeah. Well, everything was cheap there too, and everyone's
Yeah.
fucking broke. Like I'm only a year in, so I only got to see Kegs
Yeah,
for
dude, the
about
food
10 months.
food was
but it
good enough, you know
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
cheap
It was
enough.
cheap.
It's like this is obviously
Like-
just a dingy, crummy bar, and that makes us. We're all dingy, crummy people for the most part. We're all just kind of like
We
whatever
are.
the fuck. Like this,
The-
you feel fucking at home when you
The
walk
first
into
time I went to Kegs was probably about 2016 or 2017 because a guy working at my job in another department was doing stand-up at the time. This guy named John Campbell, and I don't know what he's doing now, but he was doing stand-up here in town, and he was on a show or an open mic at
Mhm.
Kegs on like a Friday or a Saturday night, and Jasper Platt hosted the show. And I sat and I watched it, and I don't remember anyone else that went up except Jasper hosting it and John Campbell going up and doing the show. And then in 2021 when I started, Twin Kegs was literally the only open mic happening.
Yeah, because after post-COVID and everyone coming back,
From everyone coming back from COVID, it was that, and then like slowly, like Tyler Buckingham had like a couple of rooms going. Like he was the guy that had Coco and gave it to Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he also had this one place called Fat Cat Slims. Shane had Springwater and then gave it to Cameron. Yeah, we just had mics in different spots. DeHerm had his spot. Like so he had like a building with two different rooms, and he would like run shows and open mics out of like one of those rooms a night.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was honestly pretty cool. Like he could get like a few people and a few audience members in there every night. He had music for everyone with like,
Was it like this?
kind of like this, but he had like furniture sitting around, you know what I mean? Like couches lining the walls and everything.
Was it at a house?
No, it was at a. It was in a building by the East Room.
That's what I was told. It's like right back by Eastern.
Right, so there's like that tobacco store a little bit down the road from the East Room, like on the same road, the main road, Gallatin.
Gallatin, yeah.
And he had like a building that was, he had part of that like his building was connected to it. It was next door to that tobacco store.
Okay. That's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
It
was right down the road from the East Room, and like he had mics running like throughout the week and shows at that place. It was cool until he lost the lease on it, and I think like the following year, like in 22.
Probably fucking rents probably skyrocketed on him. It's like fuck. And then I don't imagine. He probably didn't have a liquor license. I don't think, right?
No,
and
he probably
BYOB,
did. It was all like BYOB in a sense. He did have like food and stuff. He sold like snacks.
Yeah.
Right.
It's also, it's DeHerm running a business. I don't know. Like,
yeah, dude.
I love DeHerm.
Me too. I love him.
I've met him a handful of times. Seen him go up a couple
guy.
times. Yeah, I think he's hilarious.
I think he's very, very talented.
I'm excited for Coco's is rebuilding, so I think someone's gonna jump on that again. So
Right.
Coco's was my favorite.
Me too.
And I rarely got. You'd get to go up every other time, every third time, or whatever. But that was, I thought that room was like awesome to do it.
Me too. It was a really great room to host and get to hang out. You know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Whoever gets it. I hope we run another mic there. I hope we do it maybe another night of the week, right? Like our Wednesday is empty. And at a time, Josh Black, I think, ran an open mic at Coco on Wednesdays.
Wednesday is empty. Well, what is Wednesday? Oh, Wednesday they have the clean mics.
They
One's
do
in
have the
Franklin, one's in
clean
Bellevue,
mics.
yeah.
Yeah, but neither of those are like in town. We could have a mic in town. You know, that would work.
Friday would work because Grandpa's gets over at like 7. So you could
True, so we
you
could
could make
start at,
another
like-
Friday. Yeah.
Because Coco started at like what, 7?
8:30, yeah.
So I would get there, I guess, at like 7, and then sign up with 7:30, start at 8, and yeah, dude. Jeez, it was those Coco nights were also fantastic. Like the way I feel about kegs and the way I feel about Coco is honestly the same. Because like both of them equally fantastic, great nights where we would, hang out super late. Like a lot of times we would shut down kegs, like me and Kanan would with a smattering of the random people at times. Like it would be Shane Bianchi, Tyler Buckingham, and John Hickok, and it would be sometimes Brad Sativa came and hung out at kegs throughout my time of doing stand-up, which is crazy to think, but like I would see Brad there sometimes. I don't think he ever really showed up when you were here.
No, I've only ever seen him at Eastern. Maybe I've seen him at Third Coast. But
Yeah.
He's just another level than he's like a working comic.
Yeah, dude.
I don't even call myself a comic. I'm just an open mic guy.
He just had to get up and going from like the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
It's like he had gone and done like full-time comedy before the pandemic, and then it shut him down for a while.
He was in like
a job, and
that sucks, dude.
That kind of stuff happens. But now he's back into like the full swing. He's been full-time comedy again for like a year or two now, and that that's really sick that he's doing that. Shout out, Brad. We love you.
He's never gonna come on this show, but
You think he's watching?
no, dude, I don't think he'll ever watch this either.
Dude, those fucking little banger Cokes are the fucking best things ever.
Aren't they?
It's the dude, like a cold, like a fucking like ice cold Coke in a can is so, like it's so good. But if you go to like the 16 ounce, it just like
It's too much.
the carbonation fizzes out before you can kill it. It doesn't feel like it's as cold. The 12s are great, but the fucking little ones, it's just like, dude, you could sit there at the refrigerator door, crack that some bitch, and just kill the whole thing. It just feels so satisfying. But it's also like the perfect amount for like a sandwich. Just like you could like 3 good pulls on that with a sandwich as you're eating it. Just God, my wife will get those for me sometimes, but I will go nuts. Like if I have like soda, I will fucking just kill them.
Ones. They're nice. Yeah.
Anything good, I will just overindulge like immediately. That's what I was like.
Right, dude. It's hard
Beer
to
still got
discipline
me, but
myself
most of
with
the other
Oreos.
things I can, Coke and like sodas and stuff like that, I can kind of like keep it at an arm's length. Beer's got me, but like
The beer
just looking
has
at this
me.
like that little fuck that shit.
It's all right, dude. You know, we all indulge. Mine's food, 100% food.
You're
Cokes
slim,
like
though.
these. Yeah, well, I exercise a lot.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I always see you out on your like walk with that like killer you got.
Yeah, dude. We walk. Oh,
You seen that thing?
Man.
He's got.
We walk on Sundays.
Dude, we walk like 6 or 7 miles sometimes on a Sunday. Like
Well,
that's really where I stay so skinny.
We're also smoking a joint every mile. So like we'll walk a
Jesus
mile
Christ.
and then smoke a joint, and then we'll walk another mile and smoke a joint.
Y'all don't just get winded and like just. Fuck
No,
up?
because we're chilling out. Because
Dude,
like
we'll have a couple cups of coffee, dude.
Yeah.
The dogs are loving it. They love the attention, dude.
yeah, it's insane.
Everybody gives them attention because they're cute fucking dogs.
Well,
you know?
it's funny. It's like I usually get there first, and so like I'll be at the fucking coffee stand getting coffee, and we're just waiting for Nick and his dog to come around. And as soon as his dog sees my dog, it just completely just changes and just trying to get to her. I mean, like they know each other and shit.
And you got a husky, right?
Yeah, and I've got.
my
Oh yeah.
God.
There's-
Two
there's-
maniacs. Two maniacs.
Okay, but they after the first mile they syncopate. Like they're no longer in competition with They're like walking like sled
In
dogs.
unison.
Yeah, it's
Like,
insane.
together.
And then we could just do our walk and everything once they get it out of their system. And then again, like we're walking around the Parthenon, and of course every lap is a mile. And what we do is we let the dogs kind of chill out where that got that little running spring there. Let them drink some water and everything. We'll smoke a fucking joint, and then we'll do another fucking lap, and then just continue to do that 6-7 times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking lit. I love going to like Percy Warner and Radnor and shit like that, and going and like I like to walk through the woods or McCabe, which is like right by my house, but I haven't walked 6 miles. Goddamn, 6 miles.
Dude,
That
I
seems
do.
like a lot.
I do a lot. So like those parks are great. I go to those ones every now and then, but Radnor to me is a bit overpopulated.
Yeah.
personally. I consider that like the like Gulch of state parks.
And you can't bring
Really?
a dog. I don't
Um,
think.
No, not on the trails. You can do the pavement, I
pavement,
believe,
right.
still.
Yeah.
Like the loop and everything.
Yeah.
But you can't take them on any of the actual trails. So it's that part is a big bummer. So I don't really take her there, but I take her to like Long Hunter, Mill Ridge, Hidden Spring, Bells Bend.
Where's she at
Union
right now?
Park. She's at home. Dude, if I had her here, she would want to hang out with everyone for a while, but she'd sit at that door and be like, "Bitch, we need to go home.
Oh really?
I do not want to be here."
I got attacked by some pit bulls. I don't trust them.
Yeah, she is very much like she's like, I'm down for an adventure if we're like going somewhere for a hike or a walk, but like otherwise I don't want to chill. I want to chill at my home.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that.
Boris
Right.
tried playing with her once, and she was not having that shit.
That's your dog?
Mine, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she doesn't even like other dogs? She doesn't like...
She does, but she doesn't want to be fucked with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She get pissed off, or she just like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to get annoyed and walk over
No,
here?
she gets pissed off.
She gets
Oh, okay.
pissed off. She gets mad.
Yeah.
She also, for some reason, just doesn't like certain people. Like, I'll say she's been aggressive towards
What kind of people, Nick?
Hunter Boros
Okay.
is one.
That's okay.
But then Kelsey is another one.
It couldn't be two completely opposite people.
Kelsey Dixon and Hunter Boros.
Yeah,
both
okay.
of them.
At least she's not racist.
Yeah, she's not. She just doesn't like, I think she just doesn't like people of like a certain height. I think that's her thing. And if like it's people that she can't really see their face, because Hunter wears hats that like go right. Like it's hard to make eye contact sometimes with them, especially for I think for Leia, because she's so short, you know, and she's looking up. She like, I think the eye contact is really important to her, you know. So for her, and then sometimes Kelsey wears like glasses, and he's got dreads that can kind of be in his face. It's a little hard, you know.
Yeah. And he is big.
He is big. The lighting can be really bad at kegs too, So like that's the only place I brought her to, and that's kind of chaos. It's loud.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Like I try to not bring her on nights where there's a band playing or anything.
You brought her to kegs with that cat there.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, RP,
Yeah, and she, oh gosh, there was like, so they have these like, they had these O-rings that were like.
For the cat?
No, not for the cat. O-rings, like the metal, big kind of O-rings you'd buy from like Home Depot or something.
Okay.
Right? Drilled into the beams, right, of the patio on kegs, right? The patio. And I hooked Leia's leash up to that once, or a couple different times. And like, she would be okay sometimes on it, but other times she would like freak out and like try to run around.
Get free.
And her leash would knock over chairs,
Sure.
Or get her tangled up and stuff. Or, the leash isn't very far, so she can't do a lot. It's like 6 feet or something.
Right.
She can't
So
really
the
do a
walking
lot.
leash.
Your walking leash,
Right.
It wasn't like a lead or anything, I guess,
Sure.
or anything longer than that,
Right.
So it was definitely a pain in the butt sometimes to bring her. And especially with like Kelsey being the host of that mic a lot of times, right?
And she just didn't like Kelsey.
She just didn't like Kelsey. And then Hunter would be there a lot too, of course. Didn't like him. I brought her to like Bobby's Idlehour once for the Sunday showcase.
Okay.
Actually, I brought her twice, and I think both times she was aggressive to Hunter and maybe Justin Wagner. But she liked Cam, and she liked Forrest, and she liked Caleb and Daniel, I think. Yeah, it was
just Hunter she don't like.
just Hunter. For some reason, she doesn't like, and he'll talk about it too if you bring up my dog around him, I'm sure.
I don't think she'd like me.
I don't know, dude. I don't think you have anything that like gets in the way of your eyes.
Well, I already don't like her.
Ah, I
So,
see.
I think she would know.
You don't like pit bulls?
No.
Ah, I'm sorry.
So you said you got
She is
attacked by
cute,
a
dude.
pit bull?
Yeah, my grandmother's pit bulls.
No
shit, dude.
No.
Sorry about that.
Were you antagonizing the dog?
No, it's like my.
How old were you?
This was like 3 years ago.
Oh,
4 years ago before
alright.
I moved up here.
Wow.
Just before I moved up here.
Sure.
This was like 3 years ago. And my cousin had moved in, and he ended up getting like 2 dogs, 2 pit bulls. They had puppies. So then he ended up having 5 of them in the house. And then one day I was at my dad's, and we were drinking a little bit, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go see my grandma. She lives a mile away, a mile down the road. So I go over there. I'm knocking at the door. No one comes. And then I was like, well, fuck it. It's my grandma's house. I'm just walk in. And I forgot my cousin had just moved down and had these fucking dogs. So the second I walk in, and I hear them barking, but I grew up with 5 dogs. My parents have 5 dogs, so I didn't think nothing of it. I walk in, and these dogs just immediately maul my ass. Just like, one's on my like calf, one's on like almost my nuts, but like my leg. One's like jumping on my arm. Right, that's what that scar's from. And there's one on the back, and they just like But luckily, like I was still in the threshold of the door, right when like I walked in. And I'm drunk, so I'm like I didn't freak out.
So you didn't even make it through the
Dude,
door.
that's
No, the
impressive.
second I opened the door, I just walked in, and they were all on me. and I'm just like, I'm getting attacked by dogs right now, because I'm like hammered.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, but I'm still in the doorway, so I'm like, I'm gonna just like back out. And by that point, my cousin was coming down. I'm just like backing out, and they just let me do it. And my cousin's there, so I'm like I didn't fight him or anything, thank God. But they fucked me up, dude. It was bad.
So I guess it was good that they were doing what they probably were.
Yeah, they
Exactly.
were protecting, but damn, that sucks.
It was definitely my
That's a
fault because
bummer.
like I knew they had puppies, but by the time like I had been back over there, they were like a year. They were like dogs, you know. They weren't puppies, and like my grandma was all upset. But I was I had the same thought that you had. Like this is actually.
They're doing their job.
Yeah,
They're
it's a
doing their
good thing
job,
because they
yeah.
don't know who I am.
Exactly.
So this is actually kind of reassuring in a
Right.
sense. But then, I mean, he did have some problems with those dogs because he had to rebuild the fence. Because if those dogs got out, though,
They would kill
would
somebody,
be
yeah.
like they're aggressive dogs.
Sure.
Right.
To the point where it's
right.
like they wouldn't.
like
It's not just they're gonna
when-
protect here. If
They
they got
would
out, they
protect
would
the
be
neighborhood,
aggressive
yeah.
dogs. Yeah.
like when I leave town, I have my friends, my neighbors come watch the dog, because they both come to my, like, I have two different neighbors in my cul-de-sac that like come hang out at my house pretty regularly,
Mhm.
so they know my dog.
Yeah.
You know?
And she's cool with them.
She's very cool with them, so
Yeah.
like they can both go over there on their own without me being there, and
Mhm.
she behaves perfectly fine for
Yeah.
them, you know, like
Yeah, I
she
watched
doesn't fuck with them.
like the girl that lives across from me and my wife. She's a nurse or something. She works a lot of hours, oddball hours and stuff. So a lot of times we'll like walk her dog. And her dog's the shit, dude. Her name is Daisy. She's a little what the fuck? Some kind of doodle. Everything's a doodle. It's a fucking poodle, Australian Aussie doodle.
Oh wow!
But
I
she's
didn't know
like-
they made those.
She's
now.
like Australian Shepherd and poodle, and she's like good size. But dude, if she sees me, like she will lose her shit. Like if her her owner,
Aggressively wise?
no, like very excited.
Okay.
Like she couldn't hurt a fucking.
That's
she's-
my dog when she sees him.
Really, she loves Rev, huh?
She loves Rev. She loves
Rev looks like
Boris,
the guy
too.
that dogs like though.
Yeah, I don't have a
That's
problem
right.
with dogs. Never had a problem with dogs.
Like people might be like, "What the fuck is this guy?" But like dogs are like, "This guy's alright."
People
Like,
are scared of me. Like a lot of people are just intimidated, and they'll tell me like later, like, "Man, when I first met you, holy shit, blah blah blah." Were you? How did you feel when you first met me?
I'm trying to think what profile picture I think, because you've had so many that were like so interesting photoshopped ones, you know. After I met you, I was like, oh, Rev's cool, dude. He's a nice guy. It actually took a few episodes for me to be like, yeah, dude, these guys are like, hell yeah, dude.
Okay.
You know, it took a couple episodes of me being on when I was like a comic being like on the show, right?
Right.
Yeah, and I was like,
I could definitely see
these
people being
guys are
like,
cool.
"This guy's got a big beard and he's bald and he calls himself Rev Muffington."
Yeah,
I don't know
could
about this
see-
guy.
Okay, I could see some of the intimidation for sure, but then when you see you in person, I'm like, oh, you're not that big though. It's like I wasn't.
Right,
I
exactly.
wasn't intimidated.
Sure.
But I was like, no, these guys are cool though.
Yeah.
So then, and now we're here.
Well, what I'll hear is a lot of people like they think that they we're gonna come on and like they're gonna come on and we're gonna like roast them or some shit like that, and like I guess they're thinking maybe it's more of like a kill Tony type situation, which it's not at all. you
Right.
know, yeah. We don't ever really give shit to anybody unless they fucking deserve it, and very rarely have I ever.
Right.
given- Like early on, like my first season, I said and did a lot of stupid shit, just because I was in the character. But when we realized that we were actually going to do another season, the idea of I didn't want to do that character. We were going to actually do the show for real, and actually like invest money into it. Like I didn't, because before it was just a joke. When we did it, we was just a joke. I mean, we weren't doing anything. We just happened to have like some actual like big names. I mean, we had the very first episode. We had Robert Watkins from Screaming Cheetah Wheelies, was like one of the big '90s bands, like top 10 '90s band, rock band, and some really good comedians. We had Herm was on our first season. He did our Christmas show and shit. So it was just one of those things, like, it kind of got validated, even though, like, we weren't meaning to do it.
Yeah.
And so when we decided to do a second season and everything, I mean, I really wanted to drop the whole idea of a character.
Yeah.
It just kind of...
Well, you have that, like, with, I mean, just your appearance, and then like, you do metal, right?
Mhm.
And, like, the kind of music acts that you have, it's just, like, people who aren't in that world or haven't been exposed to that already have an idea of what kind of guy you would be.
Exactly.
And
right.
it's, like, if you've been around any kind of person in that world, it's, like, you very much understand that, like, those people are not assholes. Those people are just, like, they're carefree. They're kind of hippies that like to fucking just party. Like, like, the aesthetic or the vibe that they like in their music and stuff, but they're not dicks. They're very like, you do what the fuck you want to do. I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to do. And it's like, there's a lot of subsets of cultures that are all that same way. They just present differently, and everyone's like, oh, this guy's probably gonna be aggressive because he's into that, or this guy's gonna be, half a fruit because he looks like that, or you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's like, ultimately, everyone's kind of just like, we're all the same thing. We just like, this is our creative shit that we like. But we're all about whatever creative shit you like too. It's just a little different.
I mean, the way I explain it is like, dude, I'm a comic and I hang out with like 2 older metalheads, and we hang out with a bunch of other comics and musicians, and we interview them like late night, like that. And that is
The easiest way I feel like to explain it to people. And then we have this show, which is just the long form conversation. We talk about whatever.
Yeah.
No performance.
Well, that's what's like one thing that I found almost like one of the cooler things about like starting to do comedy is like now that I'm pursuing something that's like a creative pursuit, I feel less judgmental about
Other
anybody doing
people's shit,
anything.
right?
Because like I know how hard it is for me to try to do what I'm doing, and it's
And then
like,
get in front of people to do it.
yeah, and it's just like, and then you see like this person's writing poetry, this person's fucking playing the xylophone, this person's doing this. It's like, yeah, I might not rock with that shit, I might not think it's cool, and I might hear it and I'm like, that's fucking trash. But at the end of the day, like it'll always come back around as like they're trying to do what they want to do, like I'm trying to do what I'm doing. So it's like it makes you feel a little better about like just everything. Just like everyone's just trying to do what they want to do.
What I tell anybody is like, be supportive of people. It might be something that you're not into.
Yeah.
You might want to not buy that band's album or
Right.
buy that comedian's album, but be supportive to them because they're trying to schlub it out just like everybody else is.
Right.
And like that's one of the things here, that I like about, bringing people on and stuff. Yeah, man, there's going to be bands on here that fucking suck. But then they come on 2 seasons later and they're like, holy fuck, you guys are fucking amazing. So, I mean, everyone's got to put their fucking time in. Everyone's got to put their dues in. And I think that the more that you do it and don't quit, and that's the most important thing is, don't fucking stop doing it. Because as soon as you stop, you're done.
Yeah.
But, but we've had a lot of musicians that have come on and they were fucking horrible, and then fucking they come on a season later, and then they're just fucking amazing. They tightened up, had their shit together. Comedians as well. We've had comedians that were, rough coming on, and then they come back on and they fucking kill it.
Yeah.
It's just about being supportive.
Yeah.
And like we have so many different genres of music and so many different types of comedians. I mean, are you going to like everything? No, but I mean, that's why we bring so much of a variety on here, because there's going to be something there for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the darker stuff, man, especially, when it comes to the comedy. Like when guys come on there and they just really just kind of let it go, and you can tell that they're letting it go. You can tell that all of a sudden, they're fucking free-balling it and fucking just, they're now playing to the room, they kind of set their material aside, and not that they're doing crowd work, but they're just kind of tapped into the energy of the room and shit.
Yeah, just very present with what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Music-wise, too, man, one of the things that I really miss about this show, the way that it was done before, where we had a band, but then we would have like a comedian or a solo artist that would sit at the table, and usually that solo artist and that band would wind up collaborating. So every episode we would wind up having this like original music and this original moment, and it was one of those things where you just kind of had to be there to be part of it, and you never knew what was going to happen, but at some point there would be just some type of just melding of the room, and it was just one of those things that was like kind of the signature for the show until we moved to Nashville and changed format. But one of the great things about the show, one of the things that people look for was those moments where we would have the different artists would collaborate. So you'd have a metal band, but say we had a hip hop artist, and he would get up there and freestyle. And that's happened several times. And so you would get, you know, these hip hop artists with the metal bands, or you would have the acoustic acts and stuff, and they would blend with like a rock band or something. They would just wind up having so many different things happening. Like that would wind up being like the magic of the show. And I wish we could actually kind of like rebottle that in some way back, because that was like one of the things that really kind of like, for me, it was like one of the selling points of the show. I wish there was a way that we could really kind of put that back into it, as far as like, and we kind of have like, I remember you remember Freddie was here he hosted, right? So he came on and he did, they did Led Zeppelin covers with the metal band that was there. I can't remember what the band was, but so it does happen, but I guess not as frequent as I would like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the night and the show, right? The artist specifically that we have, and because the format of how we're doing it now with the band. So like we have the band come at 5 o'clock and we pre-record them
And play them at the end
and
during the live production, but it winds up being so late if we were to actually have them. I think we have to have the music stop by 10 o'clock or some shit like that. And the time we finish the show, it's like 12.
Yeah, like on a lot of nights, if we sometimes we've had some solo artists that like aren't doing songs through the whole list of comedians, and every now and then we have a shorter list of comics too.
We did 2 hours, which is the first time we did 2 hours in so long last show.
Yeah, we
That's a lot of comedy.
There's a lot of comedy, and we've got other shows of this season that have gone for like 4+ hours.
Oh wow.
Just because we had so many people booked, and at the time, booking wise, we were giving out longer sets than we should have, in my opinion.
So that was my fault. What would wind up happening is like a band would wind up bailing out. And so in my mind, I'd be like, well, we'll just give the musician or the comedians longer time. And we weren't really keeping up with it. And like before, like we were like halfway through the show, I'm looking at the list. We're not even like halfway through the comedians, and I am so hammered, like I'm spinning. Yeah. Like I'm to the point where like it was like, holy shit. Like that one when Ronzo was here, and we did like 5.5 hours, man. I had to go out and puke a couple of times before the show was even over with.
Oh, it's a rebirth, dude.
Actually,
People do you good most of the time.
Right.
I actually have to be here to keep up with like the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, he did that. He kept it the time last show, and we kept it at 2 hours. I ran the board. Sloan couldn't show up, so we had Hobbs and Blevins do the show, essentially hosting. And we did everything within 2 hours, man. We had.
I think 2 hours is a perfect time.
Right. I think the like 3-hour shows are acceptable too if we've got like a like for that one the solo artist didn't do a song in between every single comic.
The last one he only did 5 songs.
Yeah, he only did 5, so we had 5 or 6 comics.
Yeah, but then we had Senny. I think we did 4 hours on Senny.
And that was fine. I honestly thought that was fine too, because he had a wonderful catalog, and then we had a great group of comics. And I do think we should give some of the out-of-town folks longer sets. Like, I think that's deserved of them if they want to run like a 10-minute or something. You know, they're coming from out of town, you know, trying to make it a little more worth their while if they want to, like, work that material, work that set, whatever it is, you know.
But certainly not like all of them. We've done a really good job of like, okay, so like the comics from out of town that are coming in, they're gonna do longer sets or like
I headline them.
Ones.
I headline them.
They're the veteran more comics that are coming from like their scenes and or more experienced, maybe not veteran, but and I just think the format we're doing is a lot better. Not to say that we can't do longer shows. I like doing a 3 and 4 hour show. But we can't always do it all.
You guys are tanks. I don't know how you guys do that long just sitting here drinking.
Sometimes
I'd be passed the fuck out, dude.
I know.
Sometimes I realize I haven't even gotten up to piss during like 4 hours of
gone.
going.
Like 5 minutes ago. Yeah, I was like.
I haven't gone yet, but I will.
No, once I start drinking and everything, if I don't have to do anything and I'm just sitting here, man, it's like that concert type deal, like going to the concerts and shit, and not being anywhere to piss or something like that. Just it's one of those things. I don't know, man. Like not breaking the seal. I don't know, man.
I just don't have that kind of willpower to not break the seal.
Sometimes it's like beer. See, I'm not drinking beer during the main show. Like drinking beer. If I could probably see myself getting up and pissing at least once.
Right, beer. That's true. You never drink beer on that show. It's
always
straight up
whiskey.
Just the whiskey.
And then I chug tons of LaCroix if I have it, or these Cokes.
I've done the show twice, and by the time I get off stage and do this thing, I'm like, how am I getting home? Like, my wife has come and picked me up before. I've always, I don't ever just come up here. It's just like,
Uber?
Yeah, always.
We always tell people if you actually live in Nashville, the best thing to do is Uber. That's just the best.
I don't say that. I need to be saying that.
Yeah, no, I tell people
park
that.
Or park at the church.
No, can't park at the church
Don't
anymore.
Park at the church no more.
Yeah, that got ruined.
So I want to say a little prayer before my set. Can I park there? What kind of, is it a Hispanic church? Or
it is now.
It is? Oh, was it not?
Well, before it wasn't, so I didn't realize that. So there was a changeover apparently that we didn't know about, and so we had our show, but my neighbors over here had a big party too, and they had a band and stuff like that. So we had these 2 huge parties going on, and everybody flooded the church. And the church didn't know what the fucking thing, and no one told them anything because we had a deal worked out with the church that as long as we didn't park in front of the building, we parked down in the further parking, and everything was cool.
Yeah, the other parking
Well, these people lost their mind, and apparently someone got shitty with them and broke out 2 of their fucking windows. No one from
The house or the church?
the church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was no one from us, but apparently it was somebody from the party next door.
Yeah.
So they went up and putting fucking signs up and shit, no parking and
They
shit.
put like one of those little chains in front of the.
Probably.
Yeah, that'll stop them.
Yeah, I mean it's sad that it happened and everything, but it is what it is. Fuck it, can't please everybody.
Well, you've been doing this long enough that like the neighbor. How long have you been doing it here in this space?
This will be our 3rd year, so technically 2 years.
So you've like the neighborhood knows that occasionally you have a ton of people here.
Exactly, and then everyone does their own thing. So like, there's a mariachi band. Sundays will be insane. Believe me, 12 noon Sunday tomorrow, or not? What is it? Today's Friday. Damn, we're doing an early show. So Sunday, this whole hollow will be full of mariachi. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
And it's good mariachi, not like the shitty. I mean, it's actually the band is really fucking good. And I don't know if they're doing a party also, because you can also hear them doing like the crowd work and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then my neighbors here, the Californians, he's got a band or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen
plays
them.
drum.
The first time I came here, they were like jamming in the living room.
Yeah,
like a full band.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so it's like and across the street, the Latinos, they have these great big parties going through.
Course,
There's a PA, and so the PA is just this thump, 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 thump. Every song is thump, 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 Thump,
That's
thump,
awesome.
thump. Yeah.
That's the kind of neighborhood you want to be in.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's one of those things is like, well, I'm going to do my thing, and you guys don't fuck with me, and I won't fuck with you when you do your thing. And so, like, there's not one time police have ever been called.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. It's like, well, the mariachi band on Sunday, I guess, that's I'm gonna go walk my dog or something like that. At least they're not doing it super fucking early. And then like I got Latinos over here. They have their pool parties with this loud PA, and it's crazy because they do American music, but it's Spanish versions.
Yeah.
So it's like everyone gets loud, and you just have to make, it's like, okay, well, it's their day to get loud. Fuck
I
it.
love that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of like the neighborhood I grew up, or not I grew up, but the one I lived in before I came here in Atlanta, and it's just like, no one fucked with anybody. Everyone is the exact same vibe. Like the guy next door, they're out there wrenching on trucks, they're playing music till fucking all hours of the night.
It's their turn to do it.
And then we're over there, we're throwing parties, we're 24 at the time, 25. And we're doing our fucking thing. The people, and it's a diverse neighborhood, and no one bothers anybody.
Right.
It's just like this perfect thing. It's like you're doing what you're doing, I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the week,
Just
well,
hanging
exactly.
out,
At the end of the week, everyone has their way of letting loose, and so you don't want to cock block anyone's party, and you don't want anyone doing that to you. So when I was a kid, I actually lived in this neighborhood as a kid. I went to high school in this neighborhood. And so because it's so many hills and valleys, you would always hear in the distance like some band jamming or something like that. And you're like, oh. So just like, you would follow the sound until you wound up coming to a house party, and you wind up fucking, meeting these dudes that are fucking been jamming. Next thing you know, it's all these people are over. There's a fucking keg and shit like that. I mean, it's just always been a very musical community here. I mean, as far as I can remember it, I'm really surprised that it's kind of still kind of kept that vibe.
Yeah.
Especially with it being so culturally diverse now.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really great. I mean, I've really enjoyed it. Because before we were doing this podcast, I was jamming in my bands here. So this was just where my band would practice. No one would give a shit.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you, your guitar, vocals?
Bass was a bass, and now I just do vocals in the band that me and Sloan are in. Sloan plays guitar. Our sound guy is gonna probably do drums for that. It's a 100% improv metal band.
Okay.
Yeah, so like we just got up and did it. A band wound up backing out, so like fuck it, we'll just do it. So we did it as Oddlit, and so they just made some shit up, and I made some shit up, man. It actually sounds really fucking cool. So we decided to fucking see if we can get some gigs booked, and we've got some gigs booked.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
You recorded it and put it out?
Well, we recorded it on the show.
Oh, okay.
So when people were like, and I had clipped it and everything, so I was just sending the link and shit.
So are you gonna? On these book shows that you have, are you guys gonna keep that same improv?
100% improv. Fuck yeah.
And it's gonna be you, Sloan, and
probably our sound guy Jack, or Sloan's kid on drums, and then Sloan's bass player from his old band. He sat in for the first time. He'll probably wind up playing bass for this too.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's just to continue to just create is just cool.
Fun. Yeah.
And then the whole idea of doing an improv band where you don't have to like spend all the time practicing, because that's one of the things that really makes things like old in a band is having like to practice your songs.
Yeah, just redoing the same.
Especially when you got the guy who wants to practice all the fucking time. It's just, to me, like, we could like throw a song in here and there to practice, to begin with, but let's not run through our whole entire set. Let's not waste 45 minutes to practice when we could play a song to warm up and then like just create. My last band before I technically retired was called Horror Magnet, and we did that for about 10 years, and that was an experimental band, psychedelic metal. I guess they would call it like doom metal or sludge metal or something like that, but it was very it was like Pink Floyd and Black Sabbath had a love child. So it's very kind of psychedelic and went in different experimental different ways, but it was very heavy like Black Sabbath. It was really kind of cool, and like the freedom of that is like we had songs that we wrote, but like if we were to do a set or something like that, it would be a lot of improv songs and vocals and everything. And I didn't really think too much about it until the band was together for about a couple of years, where one of our best friends was like, man, I can't believe you guys write an album every night. Because we recorded everything into CD, and we had a collection of every night that we played because of a lot of the improv. It was all one and dones. And they're like, man, you write an album every night. And I was like, yeah, I guess we do write an album every night. And so we started, like, instead of just dating the performances, we actually were, like, titling the performance, because, like, every one was technically a fucking new album. So, yeah, we would throw in one of our songs that we wrote, but it would be kind of like throwing in, like, a cover song, and everything else was, like, almost, 100%, improv. There might be something that someone may have worked on beforehand and then threw it in, and then we just kind of did something with it right then.
Right.
But for the most part, man, the freedom to be able to do that,
Very cool.
Yeah, but I'm really excited about doing it now, because that's just one of those things that, to be able just to get up on stage and just fucking just.
Yeah, do you still have that date for Oddlid too?
Yeah, I think it's July 27th or July 17th. We haven't got a venue down for it yet, but they got all the bands. Basically, it's a band coming in from Florida. They're doing a tour. And so while they're stopping in here, they want to get a couple of local bands to get on the show with them. So that'll be kind of cool.
No, do you like to do it just to do it, or is your goal to make a living as a musical act?
No, that's a young man's game. That's something, when I was a kid I had that, but as you get older and get through life and a couple of marriages and shit like that, you're just doing it to do it, doing it to have fun.
That makes sense.
If something like that happens, then that you never know who that's going to happen to, and if that happens, then fucking that'd be fucking awesome. But that's no expectation. The expectation is, like, I love getting up on the stage and perform, whether I'm playing bass or, fucking, doing vocals. And I definitely want to start doing, stand up. That's definitely what I want to do during the summer break. But I John Dollar was on here, and he was talking about how, some people just kind of have that, that wanting to be on stage, and it's not like an exhibitionist type of thing, but it's just like, I enjoy performing. I enjoy taking my art and be able to present it, whether it's music or whether it would be comedy, whether I'm sitting here and telling a story or something like that. If I'm making you laugh, I'm getting a reaction from you, whether I'm doing something or saying something funny, or I'm playing music. That makes me happy.
Right. So just the act of it. So anything else is just
and like with the Oddlid thing, it was so cathartic to be able to just get some of that shit out. Just like to be able to just like to almost kind of be like the reverend character when I first started, to the point where it was just like, because before, not that I was being nasty to be nasty, but like, I wasn't censoring what I was saying and just kind of, saying how I felt and just kind of getting things out. To the point where, like, that's not something I really wanted to maintain. But, like, to be, Slim Horrison for 25 minutes, like, that was very cathartic, just to be able to just belt and rant and get some of that shit out. It was very cathartic.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could ever, like, say my jokes with a band behind me. But I imagine it would feel kind of fun,
When I first got up there, I didn't know what I was going to do, so I just started singing like a funny song. And then when it kind of clicked, I thought about the musicians that have come on here and whatever reason where they had some kind of like a piano or something. And then I was like, man, your shit would be really good if you actually had like a band behind you.
Or like Amy. Amy
that's who I'm talking. That's who I'm talking about in particular is Amy.
Imagine Amy Gross.
Because she has that grunge look. She has that like that '90s grunge look.
Mm-hmm.
And can you just see her like doing her shit, but with a band behind her, right?
Right.
So that's one of the things I kind of talked to her about and everything. And I was like, I can even kind of facilitate that, but she's so elusive. But when I got up there, when I got up there, by the time I finished the second song, that's when it clicked. And I was like, oh, now I know what the fuck I'm gonna do. And so then I started doing things of a little bit of a mix between things that I had written but not really fleshed out. So I didn't really do it in 100%, but kind of threw things out there. But then also other things that were just completely improv, that just kind of just ranted out and everything, that wound up. One of them wound up really touching me to the end, where it's like, holy shit, I went Pegged by Life, which is on there. The way I started the rant and then where it wound up ending at the very end of it touched me in the way, like, I didn't realize at the time what I probably even said. And then watching it back, just like it fucking touched me. I was like, holy shit, just like that whole kind of was so like provokingly like thoughtful. It was just, man, it fucking just like, it made me almost like tear up. Like my fucking eyes just kind of welled up. I was like, holy shit, man, I went like to a different level on that. And it was like really fucking crazy. And I'm glad like something like that winds up getting like caught, because it'll never happen again. You know, at least not that. I mean, that's, you know, all these one and dones, they're special because, you know, this is never going to happen again. It's never going to be repeated again. And that's what I always liked about that shit.
And it wasn't about an audience seeing it. It was about you doing it and you capturing it and you just enjoying being in the moment of doing it.
Exactly. Both even.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, because like so when you go see a band and then they wind up doing something improv like that, especially if it's not being recorded, the only people that really have that memory of it are those people who are there in the moment of like, holy shit, there was this time and I saw this band and they did this song and blah blah blah. You know, you had to be there, man. You know, it's just one of those things. So those are the special moments about going to a performance. I went to go see Dave Attell. I saw his last show. He had 2 shows, so his second show. He winds up doing an extra 45 minutes, man. The fucking waitress comes to our table like, holy shit, you guys got a fucking show tonight. He did an extra 40. I was like, fuck yeah, we know. It was like, that's one of those things like, if you weren't there, you wouldn't have gotten all this.
Yeah, you'll never get it, yeah.
Exactly. And it's just one of those things that's like, now everything's recorded, so, a lot of times if someone does something, it's probably going to be on YouTube in 12 hours. But, I mean, and I was even talking about the moments before on the old show where you have the bands that would come together. Unless you were actually, there watching the show or even knew anything about it, you would completely miss out on this unique moment,
I think that's the unique thing of sitting at the host table throughout the entire show, though. Is like you are seeing it from a different perspective, because like we've got different spots of our area for
everything
happening, and I can see the people off camera too.
Right.
And what's happening.
See, that's the one thing about me facing this way towards the guest is like, especially with the light, I don't see anything. You and Sloan are looking directly, able to see anything, but once I'm into the show, I don't see anything. I mean, I don't see Jack. I don't see the audience. I don't even see the band hardly. I can see the stand-up, but for pretty much anything back beyond the light, I don't see shit. I got pissed.
Yeah, I see.
Gonna get sunburned from that thing over there on that.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's like
taking a pee break.
Half of his face is gonna be like a truck driver's arm. You ever seen those truck drivers after years of driving on the road? It's just like leathered, and they're over there the comforter to hold their arm off of.
I'm gonna just get that from driving in general. Like,
do you Uber?
No, I don't.
You just pop up there like a cool kid, just like hanging out.
Yeah, dude. Sometimes I hang it. This is like perfect. Hang your arm out the window.
Oh
season.
no, not me. 10 and 2 all the time. Got both hands on the wheel, Nick. Both hands.
Dude, my car has that like.
Your car looks.
driving
It's kind of slick looking car.
Thank you. Yeah, dude.
It's fairly new, right?
Yes.
Acura.
2019.
Oh, there ain't nothing there. Ain't nothing.
And it's a nice little vehicle.
I think I've seen on someone's, maybe yours, maybe someone else's, the inside of it, you had like black and red interior. Yeah, so you got a nice little whip there, man.
Nice little car. I do love my vehicle.
I hear you. Dude, I would literally, I don't know about literally, but I would seriously contemplate killing a man for a brand new truck.
Right, dude. A truck, and there's so many. I wish Toyota would bring their like new inexpensive truck over here.
I gotta have it. Can you get a new one? That natural light right there. Sorry.
They have this new one.
That little
Honda's
tiny one.
Yes.
Like the really tiny one.
$10,000, $15,000 truck.
Oh, thank you. You're not gonna see a $15,000 truck in America anytime soon. Unless it's a 2002 Tacoma.
This is their new super basic truck that is $10,000.
Yeah.
But it has manual windows even.
Wow.
I believe.
I don't want that. I want a big old truck.
Fair, dude. You want like
Like,
a
I don't-
raptor or something. Right?
Yeah, like I don't. There's nothing I like. I don't like
Or a
things
Ram
really, but like
2500.
the only thing I would really want is like a brand new. Cause I've never had a nice car or nice truck, and I'm from Georgia, so of course I want a fucking truck, and I
Yeah,
want
dude.
just a big old truck. Other than that, I'd probably, if I got one today, I'd probably be good on material items for like at least 10 years.
Hell yeah.
I used to
dude.
have Blazers. I used to really love Chevy Blazers.
Yeah, oh, they're sick.
I used to.
Like the older square body ones.
Not even no. Like my favorite one is the very. I bought it brand new. It was a 2000 Chevy Blazer. There's something about that design. I don't know what it is about the design. And then that one wound up shitting out on me about 5 years later. So I went and bought another 2000 because I just love that model.
Is that the one with the more
small
rounder
window.
down,
Right.
the
It's got-
smaller body?
Well, it's got the smaller
Slimmer.
body, but also it's got the smaller window. It's kind of got that kind of taper down to it. Just something about
Yeah.
that. I just love that fucking model. The tires that are on it too. It's got like those fucking mag wheels that are on it and shit and everything. It's got the tint to it. That's just enough. It was just enough room to take all three of my fucking pit bulls and shit to the lake. It was just perfect. I was a bass player, so it was just a perfect to put all my cabinets and shit in it. Like it just fit everything that I needed. I needed to leave my wife. And just enough shit to pack just to get the fuck out of there. Right? Yeah.
Was
it
that the
was
same body style as the 95? Like that more? I think
No.
because I had my first car was a 95 Jimmy. So it's
So a
essentially Blazer.
Jimmy and a Blazer is the same thing.
Yeah.
The only thing that's on it is the
The badges.
yeah, essentially.
So 2000, I think it would have been this pretty much the same body style I had. Because then before too long, they got kind of bulky looking, but in a rounded way.
So
My buddy
this
had
this
a
is exactly
old,
it.
GMC truck. It was like a 5-speed or a 6-speed. I can't
So
remember.
this is the
Probably old
4-door right here.
Yeah, I had the exact
This
same
is
truck.
my first one, and then my second one was the 2-door.
Yeah, and those motherfuckers will run.
Yeah.
Hey, run, dude.
I mean, look at the tires on it. See, that's what I also loves, the fucking tires on it.
Yeah.
It was just like, man, it was just one of my fucking most favorite vehicles. And like to this day, I would have one, except for the fact that the one thing that always goes bad is, especially with salt, is that everything rusts out at the bottom. That was the problem with both of mine, was the rust. The entire bottom just fucking
Does
rusts
that
out.
happen a lot here?
Dude, they throw down salt just on the very, very whim of their maybe ice. They're just already out there. The reason why we have so many potholes in Tennessee, so many cracks in a row, is because of all that brine that they throw out. And if there is actually fucking any type of accumulation, that's when they throw out the actual salt. But all that shit eats the fucking road. So you got all that brine underneath the ice, then the ice pushing all the brine down. Then you got all the rock salt on top being fucking pushed down into that. And then all these fucking holes at the end of it just get all dug out. Fucking ask this motherfucker here how many times he had to replace his tire.
That's true. I've hit at least 2 or 3 potholes.
Did you ever claim it with the
Yeah.
DOT? 'Cause I've heard you can do that, but I've heard that it is also a bitch.
You can do that. I've been far too lazy to try to. It's hard to take pictures of the potholes because I'm always doing it like
Yeah,
when
it's
I'm
like
driving.
this
you know?
was 30 minutes ago. I just got home.
Dude, yeah, it's
Do they really want pictures of the pothole?
They want pictures of the pothole, and you have to you have to.
Well, I
show
can't go
them
back
a
because
re-
my fucking tire's not on my car.
Right, like you have to give them like a receipt of the tire you had to replace, and then like take
Well, I
a
understand
picture
that.
of the pothole and give them like like whatever street it's on or whatever, what intersection it is.
They need something that shows that like it happened right here. Like you're pulled over on the side of the road because you just hit this motherfucker. That's what they're looking for. Not like your shit got fucked up, it hit, and then you made it home, and then you're like, well, what the fuck?
Right,
Like, have you ever been like
exactly.
hit one just like you're fucked off on the side of the road?
Well, I always have insurance, so like if I'm like fucked off, like I'll just have them take my car back to my house. you
Yeah.
know?
But the
Like-
times like your tire got fucked up where you like broke down.
I mean, maybe for a little bit. Like a lot. Like, do you mean like this most recent time, or do you?
Yeah,
mean,
just yeah.
Those most recent ones, like I didn't have a spare, so I just got my insurance to tow my car back to my house.
But your tire was flat the second you hit that pothole.
Yes, dude.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
flat.
That's when you have to know to like
So-
I gotta go take a picture of this thing and my car in the proximity of it.
I should have just
Yeah,
done
that's
that.
what they're
I
looking
never
for.
did.
But a lot of people like we don't think about that. We're like,
No,
I'm fucking
dude,
straight on the side of the fucking highway.
I was so like high adrenaline and like pissed off about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because both times happened like after a night of doing comedy, you know.
Mm.
Like, so it was like I was already at like a high point from there, and then I hit the thing, so that like takes me down. I was involved. And then I have to wait for like my insurance, like the tow truck
For
to
them,
come.
and that always takes hours.
That or it well, at least for mine, it usually takes like an hour to 2 hours. The times that I've used them.
Is it AAA that you're using or what?
Allstate.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're good. You guys are not bad. You're fucking expensive
Dude, do not
right
fucking
now.
give a shout out to a
You're
goddamn
fucking-
insurance company on the program. I will lose.
No. Allstate, you're fucking expensive. Get your rates down, dog. Let's fucking. Things are so expensive. Get your rates down, buddy.
Things
I
are
will
expensive.
only talk
Nick
good
Weir.
to you. I will only talk good about you when you lower your rates, dude.
Do you have any tickets?
No tickets, but I have had to use the tow service a couple times, and they cover up to like $100. And you got to think like a tow going from one side of the city to another. You know, I just take my car back home and I will like put my car up on stands and take my rim off and then like go up there and get the tire replaced. You know.
I broke down in Chattanooga one time.
That's
Blew a tie rod coming back home from Atlanta. And that tow cost me $500. And I knew it was tie rod. I could see it. And like, luckily, like as I was like, I stopped in Chattanooga for gas or whatever. And I was getting back onto the on-ramp. And as I was getting onto the on-ramp for 24, I just lost all steering. I was like, fuck. And then I didn't know what it was. So I was able to, the right wheel still worked because I didn't blow that tie rod. So I was like able to turn my truck to get off the road, and then I got under it and I realized like, oh, my left wheel is just, it's not attached to any steering mechanism at this point.
Shit.
And I called and it was $500 come back. And the guy that dropped me off was trying to hang out with me all night long. He was this fucking podunk dude from North Georgia. He still lived in Georgia, and he brought me home. He was carrying my truck. He's like, yeah, he gave me his number. He's like, anytime you want to hang out, just come call me. I was like, dude, I don't ever want to see you again. I didn't want to see you today. I wanted to just get
the worst day
home.
of my life.
This
my
sucks.
car is fucked. Dude.
And that was like, it wasn't a very expensive fix, but I was looking at it. And I was like, if I had the tools and the part, I had the part in my truck because I knew I needed tie rods. But I was like, I don't have anything to do this. I don't, like, a couple Chris Fix YouTube videos, I could probably do it.
You don't have
But
the
like,
tools.
I
though.
can't do it. Yeah, I don't have
you
the
don't have the
tools, and I
tools,
can't
you
do it on
can't.
the side of the fucking road. $500 from Chattanooga to take my car here.
That sucks. See, I need.
And I waited for like 2 hours.
Well, what sucks is like, at least for me, I'm buying a new car. When I bought mine, the dealer told me that I didn't come with a spare tire. Is one of the things. So like, I have to go out of my way to find a donut or just buy like a couple of spare rims to have. You know.
Well, one.
One spare rim to have. You know.
You definitely should probably do that.
I definitely need to do that. I just have not done that yet.
Well, the thing is, like, once you replace one tire, it's like you kind of have to do them in pairs at least. Like, right? That's what I've always
Well,
heard.
you can have them graded. When you go to these used places, they pretty much bring out a couple of tires that they let you eyeball which one would be closer to what your actual tire is, so that way you don't have to worry about going and getting alignment and shit, because you probably need an alignment anyway if your shit's worn down.
Right, you're
but
hitting potholes.
They're
all
wanting
day.
like an arm and a leg. I've got a spare on mine with the donuts, but I also have a tire that I have that for replacement. Basically, this was the one good tire I had when I had all my tires replaced. And they're like, "Do you want to keep this tire?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to keep that tire."
Yeah.
So just in case, like, I've already got one that's got a fucking, it got punctured and everything, so it's got a plug in it. So if I need to get another plug in it, you can't plug it twice. So I've got the other tire in the shed. So, I mean, I'm covered, but I mean, I would only bring it with me if I was on a trip or something like that.
That's like 7 plugs, not some bitch. Fuck it.
As many plugs as you can get in there, dude. I mean, potholes fucking suck, man. Oh, I've hit so many here throughout my time. And, like, all my other cars, I always had a donut, so, like, I was great. Like,
Yeah, you're good for
whenever I
another
hit 'em-
70,000 miles on the
Yeah,
donut.
yeah,
you ever seen
dude,
someone just riding on a donut? It's like, that's been on there longer than it should have been.
Yes, I would never ride it that long. Like, I would usually ride it, like,
Just get
at
home
max
or to
a
the tire
week
shop.
to 2 weeks max.
Oh, that's too much.
Ride too
It's too
far.
much. But if
Too
you
much.
need to like stretch a paycheck,
If you need
like
to stretch,
yeah.
dude.
But you've seen some people out there. It's like that donut's been on there for a
Right.
while. The whole car's like kind of like this
Mhm.
because that donut's so small. It's like Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, it's all slanted.
Oh, dog. We have done over 2.5 hours. I think we should
Yes, we
conclude our broadcast day. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed episode 123 with Mr. Tony Ziegler
Ziegler.
and Weird Nick and myself, Rev.
Alright, bitches.
Fuck you all. Good night.
Fuck you all. Good night.